When you visit a state as big and diverse as Texas, there are a million different trips you can take. Let's say you've got an appetite for whitewater kayaking. You can get your own, so this is why they call it Devil's River, trip to Texas. Or maybe you have an actual appetite. I'll take a pound of brisket, 6 ribs, 3 links of sausage, and a piece of pecan pie. Trip to Texas. Go to TravelTexas.com/get your own for the only trip to Texas that matters. Yours.
Travel is great, but planning for travel can be time-consuming and difficult. That's where One Travel comes in. With One Travel, you'll find everything you need to book the perfect trip. Flights, hotels, cars, transportation, it's all right there. With One Travel, you can book online, via app, or even pick up the phone and talk to a travel advisor ready to help you make your selections. Visit onetravel.com/music or call 855-437-2154. Plan it, book it, live it. One Travel.
Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, we get a sneak preview of Tiana's Bayou adventure, even more closures around Critter Country.
A new security entrance has opened. The new turnstiles have disappeared. We continue our talk about the Disney cruise James and I took, and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard the DL Weekly podcast. Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding. If this is your first time listening, we hope you'll check out our website at dlweekly.net. If you have more time to spend, becoming an official weekly tier at dlweekly.net/support is an especially good value. Thanks for traveling with us today, and we hope you have a happy and memorable listen to this week's episode.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of June 5th, 2024. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Tage Bushman. We would like to thank everyone who supports the show. But this week, we'd like to give a special shout out to Tara F., Stacy S., Joy W., and Megan M. If you would like to help support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, head on over to dlweekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now let's get to the news.
Extra, extra! Read all about it! DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tage and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
Later this month, Tiana's Bayou Adventure will open in Walt Disney World. Here at Disneyland, we are still a few months away with no official opening date as of the recording of this episode. Disney, though, has released video of the attraction. This was shocking to me that Disney officially released a POV ride-through of the attraction. So if you do not want to be spoiled of this attraction, skip ahead for a few minutes. We are going to talk about our first impressions because we did both watch it. So what is your first impression, Tag?
My first impression is that I really like the exterior lighting and everything. The video that Disney posted has some footage from outside. I've also seen they're now doing cast member previews, so we're getting more videos from other people, not just Disney. But yeah, I find the outside to be gorgeous. I think the animatronics are amazing.
The animatronics are very
I think the
well done.
Music is fantastic. I love all of the flowery stuff as well. There are sections. So there's two things. There are sections that seem like there should be something there, but isn't. But I also felt that Splash Mountain had that too.
Well,
but then also, I love and hate the fact that there are projections in the background of some of the things that show like fireflies. I think that's a great use of projections. It makes the interior feel much bigger. The area, there's a scene supposedly that you get shrunk down to a bug size that I'm not exactly sure.
I think you're shrunk to a frog.
I'm not okay. I wasn't sure what the plot is because I couldn't hear it very well.
So,
but they have a spot of Tiana and Louis like looking at you, Louis, and people were frustrated because they thought it looked too fake. But it looks like the character from the ride, so of course it's going to look like that. If you had it look like an animated version, it'd be really weird.
Yeah.
This fits better.
Well, and I think those things are hard to pick up on screen, like the filming screen versus what it looks like when you're going through. Think of like Frozen Ever After. Taking photos or videos of those back projection faces of those characters looks terrible.
Sure.
But when you're on the attraction and going through it, they don't look like that when you're actually experiencing it. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
I'm not sure if it picks up funny on camera or if
the funny thing was not how it looked. It was the fact that like the size was weird because like because you're small.
Yeah, you're small,
but their
so
heads
they need
are
to be
so
big.
It just seemed strange. That's all.
Oh, okay.
And then the area with Mama Odie is also a projection right above the last lift hill, which I thought was weird. I thought the Mama Odie animatronic, amazing.
Yeah.
I did see the Disneyland version. It seems like they've taken the wires down where the bottles would hang at the top of the drop. And I think that could be because Disney World's opening, I think, was larger than ours because it's too wide. I'm wondering if people could touch it and they had to take it down and do something different.
That could be.
The finale scene is twice as good at least as the finale for Splash Mountain. I thought the music was great. I thought that the animatronics with the projected people in the back worked really well. At the end where I called him my boyfriend used to hang out, Brer Rabbit. Mama Odie's there. I'm
with
like
Juju.
Yeah, and so I'm like I like this. I like this. I'm interested to see what our version looks like because I think there will be some slight differences.
Yeah. So my overall reaction is I really, really, really want to like this. Really want to like this attraction. I've been excited for it. I love the film, the music. I love the music, all of that. I feel like there's something missing, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Sure.
I'm also trying to be like my instant like watching the ride through wasn't a oh my god, like I wasn't wowed by that, but I also understand that it's a ride through POV of an attraction.
Yeah.
I understand there's a big difference between watching a YouTube video and going through it. So I'm trying really hard to just not go in it like not go in to actually experience it knowing that I'm going to be let down or knowing that I'm going to think it's going to be the most amazing thing. I'm trying to go in like neutral, even though that I've seen it. But the thing I think that would have helped for me is...
What's the snake's name?
Juju. Juju's the snake's name. I think the thing that would have helped for me if there was some sort of... And I think it's just how the attraction ride out is. If there was some sort of like danger... if that makes sense. And then you're escaping instead of the two drops is you get shrunk down and then the big drop is just you getting blown back up again.
Yeah.
To me, I don't like that doesn't make sense for the like thrill of the drops. I don't know if that the storyline is as does that make sense? Like it's not as like high stakes.
Yeah.
So
there's no villain, there's no like there's no it's just kind of like a thing.
Yeah.
There's no like...
There's no low point.
There's no stakes to it.
There's no low point of the story. There's no scary part. There's no like, like we got to get away, nothing like that. It's just kind of like fun and fancy free throughout the whole thing, which maybe is fine. I don't know. I haven't experienced it in person. So that's the one thing that I was a little confused about is that there wasn't some sort of like dun 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 part about it that you had like that gave you kind of built on that thrill. If that makes sense. But I agree. Those animatronics look amazing. The outside, especially like lit at night, beautiful. That was a huge plus. Because a lot of the outside scenes of Splash were there wasn't really much going on.
It was dark.
Pretty bare. I am very excited to
fireflies.
See how the inside of our attraction looks. I'm really hoping they improve the lighting inside of our attraction. Because our Splash was very, very dark. Very, very, very dark. So there's no tension.
I still think that they should have just done like they've done with the other attractions and just did the movie in an attraction.
It would have been. I mean, it would have lent itself very, very well.
I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they were like, let's extend it onto something, which maybe they're trying to do what we've asked them to do, which is we want some new original things for the park. But
you're right. We are kind of going back.
It's not like that, though.
Yeah.
What I want for an original thing is an original thing, like Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, something that
didn't exist.
100% new.
Yeah.
Not, it's Tiana. It's like a new Tiana story. Mm-hmm. Like the Spider-Man attractions like that. It's not a Spider-Man story that has been told. It's specific to the park. And people also think that's just okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, or just don't have a story. Do something like Toy Story Midway Mania doesn't have a story, but it's fun. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. So Anyways, I'm really trying to hold off like final thoughts and such until we experience it. And the other thing too that I realized, because I had some of the same thoughts too, where I'm like, gosh, there seems like there's just like clusters of storyline happening, and then a lot of like space that there's nothing. But then I remembered what it feels like to be on the attraction and the pacing, because sometimes with Splash,
You're flying through there.
You're flying through. Like, you didn't even... sometimes I watched and saw people's, like, photos that... I'm like, how did you get a photo of that animatronic? I barely even see it as we're, like, whizzing by, because our attraction goes really fast. Now, Walt Disney World's, I do think, is a little bit more of a leisurely log ride than Disneyland. So I'm curious if the gaps make more sense because of the speed speed you're going through.
Disney's video also, there was some things I didn't like about it. One is it's a ride through, but like they cut out sections.
Yeah, like
which
whenever
whenever
they had like times that they waited, they cut. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get the waiting thing, but like there was sections where like they just cut it. Like suddenly you're in a different part of the ride. I was trying to figure out what part of the attraction was what they enclosed in California, because remember there's that section they've like built a whole thing around, and I couldn't figure that out. The other thing that I noticed was it seemed like sometimes you would get to an animatronic character in their video, and it seemed like it was in between,
like the timing
was off, because like Mama Odie would like pause for a minute and then like start a thing, like it was kind of like that's supposed to be a pause between logs or something, which is weird. And then also it's been breaking down a lot.
I was going to say that might be what
Which I
part
don't know
of it
why,
was.
though.
Was if maybe the timing's not quite where it needs to be, and that's why they were closing it. It wasn't that it was breaking down. It was just that the things weren't quite synced how they needed to be synced.
Sure.
Which is why they have all the previews to make sure that they can try and iron out all of the, all of those kind of little hiccups and stuff. But still, we're trying to think positively. I do think it's still a wonderful addition. I don't know if it's going to be like the new big must-do ride for everyone, kind of like how, I don't know. There's me too, because I love Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I really do.
Yeah.
And it's wild to me that that's a new attraction, and it doesn't really have crazy waits versus like Rise of the Resistance, which was a new attraction that still has crazy long waits. So I don't know if maybe one's just more efficient getting people through or not. But I'm curious to see like what's the demand going to be for this. Is this going to be like an instant hit that people are just going to be like boom, 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 we got to go do this, or is it going to have a peak in the beginning because everyone's excited to see what it is and curious about it, and then is it gonna
what's going to be interesting for California, I'm going to say done because I'm not going to spoil or anything else, but in California it's going to open probably after summer when it starts to get cooler, so that might temper because people don't want to ride at a water attraction when it's
like
not
peak vacation time too.
But people are like, we don't go on Splash when we go in like December because it's cold. So I just wonder how that's going to be.
Well, especially because you get very, very wet.
But I also think in your comparison of Mickey and Minnie and Rise, I think Mickey and Minnie has a much higher capacity than Rise. Because think of how many people fit in one train, and then that goes, and you fill another train where you're filling like a couple cars.
True. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Well, the one thing I was super excited about, really excited about, because I love the music in The Princess and the Frog, I was worried that it was going to be a lot of not stuff that we knew since the storyline wasn't following the movie.
Sure.
But they basically did covers of different songs from The Princess and the Frog that the little critter bands did. I really love that they incorporated the songs that we know and love and just like gave them a different spin to make them like have a more unique twist. Sure. Does that make sense? Like it wasn't the same thing over and over. Like it wasn't like I was listening to the movie soundtrack as I was going through. It was like the remix. Sure. Anyways, that is my final thought. I loved the music.
Well, construction in Critter Country will be expanding soon. Currently, Critter Country is partially closed, with Hungry Bear and the Path to Galaxy's Edge still open to guests. These two locations will be closed starting in July. I think July 4th, I want to say.
This is wild to me. This construction is...
Oh, July 8th.
Not just taking over Critter Country, but it's like almost coming out of Critter Country. And that's That's huge, especially taking away that pathway to Galaxy's Edge. So instead of 3 ways to get to Galaxy's Edge, you're now down to 2. Poor Hungry Bear is going to be down. However, it does sound like they are taking this time to then give the kitchen a refurb at Hungry Bear. So they are using this time wisely. It's not like it's just going to sit dormant. But yeah, this is crazy to me. I'm very curious to see what the final look is for Critter Country after all this.
So I was watching David from Fresh Bake's construction video, and he was talking about where he thought the walls were going to be. And producer James actually watched this with me, which is kind of funny. He was doing his own thing, but it was on in the background for him. And we talked about this because I think they're going to put the walls at Harbor Galley.
Yeah, okay.
And the secret path, as David calls it, is going to be closed too. And then on the Galaxy's Edge side, here's where it gets complicated. David was thinking that they would put the walls at the entrance to Rise of the Resistance because you don't want people walking all that way to hit a dead wall and then have to come back. But they can't because, he didn't say this is me, the queue, the emergency exit areas for the queue go to that path, and you can't have a wall there.
Nope.
So what I think they're going to do, and we'll see how good I am, is they're going to put the wall where the train is, but I think they're going to have a barrier like they do for the fireworks in Fantasyland at the entrance to Galaxy's Edge with a cast member.
Oh, that could be.
So if they need to emergency exit the queue,
they can
fine,
figure it out.
but they're also not going to allow guests just to walk to the wall and be disappointed that they can't go somewhere and come back.
Well, and the other thing, too, that's back there is the pet relief area, which they may not be able to
they might move it or something.
That blocked off. But the other thing, too, is another attraction is going down because of the expansion. The Davy Crockett Explorer canoes are also going to be closed while they're redoing and refiguring and making their magic happen.
I'm really excited to see how this all shakes out because
I can't figure out what this is. I have no idea what this means.
We're gonna have to ride the canoes though this next trip.
We are,
because it'll be closed probably the next time. I think so. So Lee in our chat, we for supporters at the cast member level and above, you get 1 episode live streamed every month, and it's the first episode of the month, which is this particular episode. He said David from Fresh Baked also thinks that Critter Country, Hungry Bear, Tiana's, and all that will stay closed until everything reopens, and I think so.
You think? I would think that. I don't know.
I was looking at the Haunted Mansion construction, and it dawned on me that we're in June.
I know.
And
it's a lot further behind. I thought it'd be much further ahead than it is currently.
Mid-August is Halloween time? So they've got, little under 2.5 months? There is rebar behind the construction. Now we're kind of not talking about
transitioning,
Critter Country, but
we're moving into
But there is
Square.
Rebar for the walls that I think they're going to do.
Yeah.
And David caught on video that they were putting dirt in some of the holes back there. So I think they're getting close. I feel like all the hard work is done. What I found interesting, and I didn't catch it, and I don't know if this is the case, they have not started work on that exit gift shop yet.
No.
And David, I thought, said something about that they might have be constructing it off-site and are bringing it in, which I think is weird.
I've also been watching to figure out the elevator. I don't know. It's hard to figure out how much work has been done or not done yet on the elevator, too. And while we're on it, there was an interesting development. We all know that the exterior of the Haunted Mansion is currently being worked on. However, David from Fresh Baked, if you haven't caught on, we're Fresh Baked fans here, was in doing his construction video. He was actually invited to go up into the wheelhouse of the Mark Twain, so he had a much higher vantage point. While he was up there, on video, this is interesting. He had Imagineers in their burnt orange construction hard hats.
Yep.
It was a group of several Imagineers walking inside of the Haunted Mansion, which he thought, and I agree, was interesting. Why would Imagineers be on site and walking into the attraction? We didn't see Imagineers showing up.
The elevator goes into the attraction.
But we didn't see Imagineers showing up until it's usually final touches on the theming and stuff.
I think they've been doing inside work too.
So now we're curious what inside work is also being done, that they're taking advantage of this closure to do inside of the mansion as well.
One of the Bob Gurr show episodes on YouTube that I watched was Bob Gurr talked to, I don't remember who it was, but I listened to it when I was moving my office before I went on the cruise. And Bob Gurr was talking about how Disney, instead of making worse show, so Bob Gurr thinks that the fact that the Doom Buggies slow down and stop is bad show.
Sure.
He thinks even the slowing down is bad show because you're ruining the show for people. He said that if Walt was still around and he was tasked with this, he would have figured out a way to take a couple Doom Buggies
off
and
track.
have them come off and then be able to load and then go back in, which I think would be a really interesting problem because they're all connected into a loop. So I'm sure he would have figured something out because it's Bob Gurr. But I thought that was interesting. So I'm wondering almost if, like, because that's become such a thing, I wonder if they're working on something like that.
Where there's, like, you have Doom Buggies, but it's almost every other one's on the actual thing, and you can click them in. Boop,
maybe.
Boop, boop, where it, like a zipper.
Yeah. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think they're doing something with the inside of the Haunted Mansion, but I also think they're doing all this work. I do wonder, I hope that they are taking this opportunity with basically the entire west side of the park torn up to replace things that they've been having problems with, like the plumbing in Adventureland. I'm hoping that they're like, let's take this opportunity while we have the ground all dug up to replace all of this infrastructure.
To double check everything, yes.
So I'm excited to see what comes of everything, but we'll see. I am sad that Critter Country's closed, and that's going to be... I wonder how many people are going to be candy cane shuffling over to Rise of the Resistance in the morning to hit a construction wall and go... Oh no!
Hopefully they'll be making rope drop announcements to let people know about that. That's very, very...
You know what else would be great in the Haunted Mansion? Is if they did something with the loading area. Like if they did like they have out in Paris where they did like a staircase or something.
Where they have stuff for the Haunted Mansion holiday, but otherwise it's just this big black blank space.
That would be really cool.
Awesome.
Maybe the little birdhouse or whatever it was is going to come back.
Maybe. The other rumor that I had also heard was perhaps they're doing something with the bride.
Yeah.
She could use a little updating, I think, especially with like projections and like how far animatronics have come. She could be like crazy scary.
I mean, I think the entire Haunted Mansion could use a good once-over, and I think this is a great opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Plus,
I think so.
It's going to come back as Haunted Mansion Holiday at first, so we're not even going to see it.
That's true.
As the regular Haunted Mansion, so that'll be interesting too.
That is true. Well, guests at the Disneyland Hotel side of downtown Disney have a new entrance to use. The new security checkpoint is located next to Din Tai Fung on the Pixar Place side of the shopping district, so behind where Din Tai Fung is being built. The new entrance has a new set of restrooms just inside security on the backside of Din Tai Fung. A new mural is also present near the restrooms featuring concept art, which is reminiscent of Herb Ryman's art from the 50s and 60s.
I also thought it was funny. Somebody in the comments, I want to say, of this Mice Chat article posted a photo of the Palm Springs sign, and this looks exactly like the Welcome to Palm Springs sign.
Which, you know what, makes sense, though, because Walt loved Palm Springs and spending time in Palm Springs, so why not lean into that and kind of use that connection?
As someone who likes succulents, how do you feel about the fact that there's not grass here, and it's like other things?
I think that makes sense. Because, think of what the rest of the park, what they're trying to do is any place that there is grass, they're trying to not have grass and have the faux grass instead. So, I think this makes a lot of sense. Plus, the thing that's so interesting to me is you don't get these kinds of plants really anywhere else except for Radiator Springs.
Oh, here's the Palm Springs photo.
You don't really have, lots of, succulents and cacti and those type of plants. A little bit lower maintenance, especially for the Southern California climate. You don't really see a lot of that in the park itself. It's a lot of lush green and flowering stuff. So I think it's really neat to use that in the area. It's different. It fits with the overall. It's kind of a more clean line theme, what they're kind of going with the overall design. I like it.
So, questions for you. Well, statement and then questions.
Okay.
One, I hope, I'm curious what your thoughts are. Do you think that they are going to make the other side, where the current security entrance is, or further down, also look like this?
I'm actually wondering if the other side isn't going to temporarily be hotel guests only.
Okay.
That's my one thought. Because the other, right, we got to think big picture.
Yep.
Disneyland Forward is still looming. So once Disneyland Forward kicks in, that thoroughway right there is going to all be encompassed, and because you're not going to walk out of security to then go to what they're going to create in those spaces there. You'd still need to be behind security. So I think long term, the original security gate is not going to be a security gate. I think short term, it might be there just for hotel guests, because now it's a little awkward because you've got your Disneyland hotel guests having to kind of like, instead of just walking right out of the thing, have to kind of walk backwards to backtrack to get to get through security now. It's a little not as convenient for your premium paying guests. So that's my thought for the short term and the long term.
Yeah. Interesting. The other question is, somebody brought this up I love, by the way, reading SnackChat comments to their articles, because there's always a bunch of people in there with all types of spicy opinions. I love this mid-century modern look. Mm-hmm. Somebody brought up, and it kind of dawned on me do you think, so there's two questions. Okay. One, do you think this is going to spread to
Tomorrowland?
All of downtown Disney?
Oh, I was hoping Tomorrowland.
All of downtown Disney.
It could, because think of what some of the newer places look. No, because the new Tiendita, I can't remember, Paseo and Centrico, those are more like warm, earthy tones. This is a lot more like cool tones. They could both be in the mid-century modern-esque style. But you've got two different feelings already on like this section.
How do you transition that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
So the complaint about this would be, how do you then transition from mid-century modern to the arts and crafts style of the Grand Californian?
Yeah,
because right now downtown Disney blends with it.
Maybe that's your midpoint right now. That's why Tiendito, Centrico, and Paseo are all those kind of more warm tones, earthy tones, because that blends into the arts and crafts style a little more.
I'm going way off the rails here, but you know what I think they should do if they're doing, because now they're getting approved for all this. They'll never do it now. But here's what I think they should do. All of the shopping district of downtown Disney should move to that new shopping area where
it could be
parking lot, but this should all go away. And this should become theme park space.
It honestly, look at those maps. If you look at the Disneyland Forward maps,
but are they going to do all of this to tear it down 10 years from now?
I think they're doing things. They might be doing things intentionally. You never know.
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
I just wonder. I
feel like the cement of downtown Disney is not really that old, and they were ripping up all that theming already.
I hate to tell you this, but it's already been 25 years. I know, because it opened, because they did all the construction and things opened in 2001.
True. Yeah, that's true. That's really funny.
Yeah, so I don't know. It just seems like one of those things that, I don't know.
It's interesting when you think of the short term and the long term, for sure. For sure.
All right. Well, an interesting development has happened with the new turnstiles that are installed at Disney California Adventure.
Speaking of like entrances,
the two new entry systems that had been installed, so there's two like rows,
like two sections, like two lanes,
have been removed. No word on if they're going to come back in the future, if a totally different system is going to be tested, or if they gave up on a new system for now.
This was also very like curious to me, and I wish I knew more about it. But from what I had heard, we were never part of the testing ourselves, but from what I had heard, people that had gone through, because they were testing this with guests to see how it went, it was a little slow and a little clunky and not the most like easy and intuitive on the guest side. So people that did go through the testing felt that this was actually slower than the cast member manned turnstiles that we currently have, which that's not why they're not putting these in to slow the process down. They're putting these in to speed the process up. So there was some sort of hiccup, whether it was, I don't know, who knows what it was. There was some sort of hiccup, but the thing that's wild to me is that they installed these and completely uninstalled them. I would think that whatever the thing was that was making the system not as efficient or fast, they would have been able to fix without having to remove these. So it's the removal of it that's very interesting.
Surprised me about the removal. So if you look at the photos here, I thought for sure there'd be like holes where like cabling would be coming out of the ground, and there's nothing. So it must all go in this like little metal grating area or something, because, or it comes up where these two mats are or something, because there is, in the photos that SnackChat has,
you didn't even know something was there.
Yeah, which surprises me, because there's not even, there's no indication that anything was ever there. I'm sad though, because this system, they have a system very similar to this in Paris, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's any more or less inefficient, because Disneyland Paris isn't as busy as Disneyland, and they don't also have as many like regulars like Disneyland has.
Sure.
I do hope that whatever they do, and maybe this won't matter for Disneyland that much, but I wish there was two things for entering Disneyland. One, I wish there was a dedicated no bag security entrance, because we sometimes have it, but sometimes don't. I wish we just had that. And I also wish that there was an annual pass holder entrance. That it's only for annual pass holders, so you
Magic key holders,
so you didn't have to get slowed down by anybody taking a new photo or something. You might get slowed down with your reservation isn't right.
Yeah, it's just an added perk too for the
which
pass
doesn't
holders,
cost them really
holders.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Maybe
do you think a new system is coming? Do you think they took this away to rejigger something? What do you think?
I don't know, because it didn't look like a very inexpensive thing to have purchased and installed and tried. So that's what's wild. And they had all sorts of permits that they had filed to do.
You don't think the company they bought it from had a return window that they were nope, these didn't work?
I don't buy expensive turnstiles, Tage. I don't know what the warranty looks like.
You don't have a turnstile at your front door?
I don't know what the warranty looks like. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very...
Oh, I like Kate's idea. Magic key holder entrance with magic bands only.
There you go. I don't know, because I feel like this should have, everything about this made sense for it to have been more efficient and faster and quicker, because it was big enough that the strollers could get through, the wheelchairs or the EVCs could go through, you could take photo taking was right there.
Yep.
Everything about this should have made it faster. So it had to have been the software. That's why I don't understand why it would have been completely uninstalled. I don't know.
Also, a vote for bringing back the bring.
We will see. But this is wild. There's a lot of things going on. Sometimes I wonder if maybe we're a little too close to the pulse of Disneyland stuff, because then it's makes me have these wild what are they doing? Nope, we don't talk about this. Earl of Sandwich, the empty trailer has been taunting us for weeks. Earl should have moved into their temporary trailer ages
You said
ago.
Earl, and I imagined some
Earl
dude
of Sandwich.
named Earl.
I'm sorry. Earl of Sandwich should have moved from their temporary location into the other temporary location, poor Earl of Sandwich, way down by the trading post, so that Portos could start moving in. And that seems to have been paused, and nobody really knows why. Obviously, there's a reason. That's just not public. But that's just wild to me too. Sometimes I'm glad that I'm not local, because I would be the weird person walking next to these turns, trying and peek and figure these things out as much as I wanted to, because I saw a video, I think it was from Fresh Baked, where he peeked in the windows of the temporary thing. It's an empty shell.
Yep.
It's not even they're trying to get it ready.
This week's big update.
What is happening?
This week's big update was, so they have this nice wrap on it.
Yeah, they've had that on for weeks, months,
but
maybe.
They installed air conditioners over the wrap, so part of the where it says the name is now covered by an air conditioner, and then they put these little tables outside the little windows, up against the thing. That was the big update this week, was these little tables.
Yeah.
But I'm you have text that was on this wrap that you shoved an air conditioner onto.
Yeah.
What?
Bad planning. There's of course rumors as to what's really going on. Time will tell, but it's just wild to me, because I'm just what is happening? What is this? I want to know. But one of the rumors is that something's going on with the deal with Portos, and that it fell through, they're trying to get out. I don't know. So maybe it's something that Portos doesn't want that location specifically there. Maybe they want one of the spaces in two of the new areas that are being built down at where the new security entrance is. Who knows? There could be any myriad of what the heck's going on here.
See, the pickup window now has an air conditioner right in front of it, and this is the update.
But there's at least some movement. There's little tables that have been... There's at least something happened, but it was just sitting as an empty shell for a very long time.
I just could not believe that they put this over the stupid text wrap. Really? And then they have one over here on their other thing, too, where it says order.
Yeah, both of them are over the... Wow, okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen... There's, like, a thing on the internet called Not My Job, and it's, like, people that, like, paint... a great example is people paint lines on the highway, and they paint, like, over roadkill, because it wasn't their job to move the roadkill. Anyway.
That went into left field real quick.
Next story.
Well, a new pre-show has come to World of Color this week. The new segment titled Emotional Roller Coaster plays just before World of Color 1 to promote the upcoming Inside Out 2 movie, which premieres on June 14th, just around the corner. The pre-show is expected to run through the rest of Pixar Fest.
Yeah, so I think this is a great use of World of Color to add these like little things. It makes people go watch the show that maybe haven't seen it in a while.
And probably not a difficult thing for Disney to like do, but it's effective and fun. And it keeps it fresh.
I will say that World of Color is one of those shows that like every couple years I watch it and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that was fine. But like it's not a draw. It's not like Fantasmic for me, which
World of Color 1. You liked World of Color 1.
I do like World of Color 1, but it's still not good enough for me to want to see it like every trip.
I see what you're saying. Was
that last week I went on the whole thing? Yeah, you weren't here because we can't talk about we don't talk about Fantasmic.
We don't talk about Fantasmic until we got a couple of weeks until Teresa sees it with her own eyes in person in the Splash Zone. I have a feeling of what it is. And there's just going to be a Murphy-shaped hole.
I watched a
inside
video
of all of our hearts
on YouTube. This isn't spoiling anything. That somebody spent a bunch of time, and this is the type of video I would have made, which is how Fantasmic happens. They filmed all the different things, so they had like the things coming with the light poles coming up. Yeah. They had like showing how they hook up the command thing. They showed the guys getting out. I thought this was hilarious. They showed the guys bringing the fireworks barges out to like attach to the front of the island. What's funny is one of the guys to attach it gets off and is like in a waiter like connecting. But they said, don't let this guy fool you though. It is deeper than that, but he's on a platform that's there. And it was just funny because like they go and they bring it around, they drop the guys off to hook the things up, and then they come back and they hop back in the little boat and they take right back off.
Away they go.
Anyway.
Away they go. But yeah.
Well, a part of Pixar Fest has been discontinued, at least for now. Club Pixar, which was a dance party in the Hollywood Pictures backlot, had its last performance on June 2nd. The show had mixed to negative reviews online, with adults and teens feeling it was too childlike, while it was too late for children to take part of and enjoy. No word on if it's being reworked or just won't return. The rumor from
there's several rumors on this too
was that they were told the night that was last night that we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple, of course, with anything, especially when there's a quick sudden change like this.
Orange County Registrar.
There's all sorts of rumors. One of the rumors is that, and I think this is too quick of a thing. Somebody online was trying to say that this was because of the union, that the entertainment cast members just were, just voted to unionize. There's no way that this happened this fast, that this was a union thing. So I don't think it's that at all. Personally, I think it wasn't getting the best, most positive reviews, and so Disney's just pivoting and trying something different. Maybe they're going to rework the show to turn it into something different and something more, because a lot of fans wanted something similar to what the Mad Tea Party that used to happen back here ages ago, something that felt like that. Yeah. They were hoping for something like that. This wasn't quite that, so maybe they're reworking and they're going to do that. Maybe we'll get like a mini 4-town concert. Who knows? There's all sorts of things they could
People
do.
Would be into that, I'm telling you.
People would be very excited about that. We can't really comment because we didn't actually get to see it in person. Which I'm sad about.
I did get suggested a video on Instagram the other night that was from the people trying, like it was a video about the union, and it was like,
yes.
Did you see that?
I saw that video.
It's a long one.
It's good.
But it talks to cast members that are in entertainment that talks about, like, the one girl it was such a great video because she was talking about how her parents worked in the parades.
No, that
and
was
they worked in the electrical parades and stuff, but the mom had to quit because Disney wouldn't let her wear a leotard because her costume was rubbing into her. And so anyway, they just talk about like what it's like from that side and how hard it is to want to go to work and create the magic for people. By the way,
when you're uncomfortable and hurting.
One of the coolest things that I think guests should be really excited to hear about in this, like one of the positives, was one of the people represented in this said that like when they're given things, like she keeps all the stuff guests give to her. So she had like little bracelets and necklaces.
Yes,
she had all these things
like,
that people have made.
And, it was very sweet.
If you give something to a character or cast member, they might keep it. Should we put that link in the show notes?
I'm going to find the link and we'll put it in the show notes so that those of you that haven't seen this
it was on Instagram.
Really well
I saved it on
video,
Instagram.
We will link it in the show notes so that you can also watch it to kind of get a better understanding. But yeah, no, it was super great. Well, weekly tiers who want to visit the parks this summer have a great ticket deal. There are a couple of options available to anyone, not just Southern California residents like they have done in previous years. A 3-day, 1 park per day ticket is just $249 for adults, and it's good Monday through Thursday from June 10th through September 26th. Genie Plus, park hopping, and weekend access can all be added for additional fees, of course. See the link in our show notes for the breakdown of ticket prices, and remember to contact our friends over at Concierge to take advantage of this awesome, awesome deal. I want to say this right now, because as you all know, we're going in a couple of weeks. So, of course, we called Concierge and we were working with Concierge. And not only did they let us know about these great ticket prices, they sat down and broke down the math to figure out what days we wanted to be in the park, what things we wanted, and they compared and figured out, would it make more sense for us to get the ticket deal, and then, because we're doing longer than this is, so does it make sense to use the ticket deal plus, buy 2 tickets, one with the ticket deal plus just the regular tickets? Does it make, basically they figured it all out to figure out what made the most sense and would give us the lowest cost value for what tickets we needed to make sure that we got the vacation we wanted. So, super awesome deal
for the producers, because we have magic keys.
Oh yes, but still super awesome deal. And the other cool thing too is you don't have to use these all at once. Regular Disneyland tickets, as soon as you, so say it's a 3-day ticket, you use day 1, you need to use days 2 and 3 within a certain small, not very long of a window.
Usually, yeah.
These have a much, it's like a couple of months you have to use these tickets up, which is awesome.
Sometime in September.
September 26th, yeah. So you could use your first day on June 10th and use your last day September 26th if you so chose.
But what's great about this ticket deal, too, is you get the rest of summer, so you get the rest of Pixar Fest and all of that. I'm sure that
D23 time.
D23 time. Also, Halloween time is going to start during this time. So great time to get these tickets if you can. Well, Disneyland Race Weekend is still 8 months away, but we already have some news for it. The themes of the 2025 Half Marathon Weekend, which is scheduled for January 30th through February 2nd, 2025, have been announced. The Disneyland 5K will be themed to Marvel. The 10K will be themed to Star Wars, with the Half Marathon themed to Safari Mickey. Registration for Run Disney events starts June 11th for Club Run Disney Gold and Platinum members, and June 18th for the general public. For all the details, visit the link in our show notes.
Okay, I just need to say this and get this off my chest. I'm confused by the theming of this race because it feels like it's all over the place.
Okay.
Since we've got...
Well, each one is themed differently. So you got Marvel, Star Wars, and
it would have
Mickey.
made more sense to me if it was Marvel, Star Wars, and classic Disney, because those are the 3 studios kind of thing. But I think what throws the wrench in it for me is that it's like a safari version of Mickey.
It's called Adventures with Friends.
But it's kind of a more specific, unique thing, whereas the Star Wars one's just kind of they're more the Star Wars and Marvel's a little bit more generic theming. But yeah, anyways, I just had to get that off my chest, because usually Disney is very on point with their theme. Run Disney is very on point with their theming of these races, so this one just felt a little wonky to me.
Sure.
But I'm still real excited for all the runners.
Is Vern ever going to sign up for one of these?
So Vern is trying to do a marathon in all 50 states. If Disneyland brought back the marathon, he would be there, no problem whatsoever. But the price point for these races is pretty high and pretty steep. So, and he did get to do the Walt Disney World Marathon back in 2016, which he said was a great experience. But yeah, if Disneyland had a marathon, 100% he would. But the pricing for for it is a little steep, and he's decided he just wants to go, if we're at Disneyland, he just wants to be enjoying the parks, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Enjoying the parks as a guest, not running around the parks. Even though he does run a mile every single day, and his mile, just so everyone knows, if you need to figure out a mile loop around Disneyland, if you run a lap around the parks, I don't know if it's exactly a mile.
So
but
go
it's
down
close.
Harbor, Catella, Disney Way, and then Ball Road.
That's his little mile. That's his.
And you got
his
some
little
elevation
daily,
changes because he's got
that's
to
his
go up
little
and...
daily run every day. So it's at least a mile. Maybe he had stuff on. I don't know. He's not here for me to ask to verify right now.
I would gladly run that because at least there's something about walking around the Disneyland Resort that doesn't feel very long. Do you know what I mean? Like when we walk to the park or we walk around the park, it doesn't feel like we're walking that much. But like if you were to do that like in our neighborhoods, it would feel huge.
Yeah. I see. No, I'm the opposite. Like walking in the parks and in downtown Disney feels like nothing. Walking like the perimeter of the park feels like forever. I think because I'm excited to get to wherever it is we're going, so I don't ever feel like we're going like it's taking forever because I'm not there yet.
Sure.
If that makes sense. But it's gorgeous, like the landscaping and the trees.
Oh, yeah.
A nice wide sidewalk so you don't have to worry. Like, so if it's busy, it's not awkward, like, who's going to, anyways. We got a little off topic. All of the news today was on the news story to then have us, like, sidetrack. I just need to say, before we started recording this, you, sir, were like, we don't have that much to talk about today.
That's probably why we talked so much.
So much to talk about. So much to talk about.
Well, if you enjoy listening to the show, please consider rating and reviewing the show on your podcast app. It helps other Disney fans become weekly tiers and part of the community.
When you visit a state as big and diverse as Texas, there are a million different trips you can take. Let's say you've got an appetite for whitewater kayaking. You can get your own, so this is why they call it Devil's River, trip to Texas. Or maybe you have an actual appetite. I'll take a pound of brisket, 6 ribs, 3 links of sausage, and a piece of pecan pie. Trip to Texas. Go to TravelTexas.com/get your own for the only trip to Texas that matters. Yours.
Travel is great, but planning for travel can be time-consuming and difficult. That's where One Travel comes in. With One Travel, you'll find everything you need to book the perfect trip. Flights, hotels, cars, transportation, it's all right there. With One Travel, you can book online, via app, or even pick up the phone and talk to a travel advisor ready to help you make your selections. Visit onetravel.com/music or call 855-437-2154. Plan it, book it, live it. One Travel.
Yoo-hoo! Hello, everybody! It's me, Heimlich. My stomach is so empty. Hey, help me to go find something to eat. Come on, everybody. Here we go.
Well, for this week in Snack Chat, we've got 2 fun little tidbits to go over with you. First one is the Pride Month Foodie Guide was released this past week. I'm just going to say it. It's
underwhelming.
They have been knocking it out of the park with all of their recent foodie guides. I had high hopes, high expectations for this. There's really not very much on here for Disneyland.
No. There's a couple things. So at the Jolly Holiday, there's a Pride cookie, which is also available at DCA at the Fiddler, Pfeiffer, and Practical Cafe. It's the same cookie. It's a shortbread cookie dipped in white chocolate, sprinkled with non-perils.
I will say sprinkles, like the little round sprinkles.
And then at the Hollywood Lounge, there's a strawberry vodka cocktail, which is vodka, strawberry puree, and soda water topped with rainbow candy belt. And then there's novelties like a Pride bottle topper that's available at a bunch of places, the Pride stainless steel tumbler, which is available at a bunch of places. There's a Pride Parade castle tumbler that's available at a bunch of locations. My gosh, this is hard for me to say. And a scented Pride cake straw clip at a bunch of locations. That's interesting.
Which is interesting because they have and they did this for something else recently. They have a merch piece that is the cake that they used to do for Pride, but I don't think the cake is not on the foodie guide.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the cake's available this year for Pride. They do talk about, of course, we were very interested because we are attending Pride Night. We were interested to see if there was a foodie guide then for Pride Nights. Maybe that's going to be released later, but right now they just kind of have like a little like paragraph that names a couple of things, but it's not a full foodie guide. So some of the things that they named that are going to be there for Pride Night is a cereal funnel cake that's going to be at the Stage Door Cafe. So it looks like Lucky Charms.
Is at the bottom? Here we go.
Yep. It looks like Lucky Charms is like on top of the whipped cream on the funnel cake. There's a red balloon Mickey cookie from Candy Palace, which that actually looks fun. It's like a cookie on a stick, but it looks like one of the balloons. I thought it was really cute. There is a peach tea that will be at the refreshment corner, a loaded corn dog over at the Little Red Wagon, and popcorn with freeze-dried Skittles that is going to be over at the Haunted Mansion popcorn cart.
The peach tea, wasn't there something like this that I had that I thought was pretty good when we went this last time? There was some type of tea that I had that was pretty decent. Maybe it wasn't peach.
Yeah, so and it just lists these things. We don't have descriptions really of what these things are. There are photos though, which you know how we love photos of food. So I'm curious. I feel like there's got to be a Pride Night foodie guide that's going to be coming out later that gives more of the details. But the other fun thing too is over at the Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, there is a Disneyland After Dark Pride Night evenings. There's going to be a fun reception with a themed photo op, some music, specialty beverages. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. We'll have to go try that out.
I will say one thing I heard is that the food booths for Pixar Fest are also not really popular. Like, people aren't going to them a lot.
Maybe because they don't have the cards.
So the rumor in the comment section of SnackChat said that they're not selling enough food because there's so many food things this summer that people want to try the other things and they don't want the smaller portions at the things. So the reason Disney is potentially thinking of getting rid of the booths early,
please don't get rid of them before we're there in 2 weeks,
because they have a crazy amount of food waste every night because they prepare a bunch of stuff and whatever.
Yeah, I could see that because between the regular Pixar Fest foodie
so maybe that's why there's not a lot of Pride stuff.
That makes more sense because they're feeling the oversaturation already. Because that foodie guide for Pixar Fest was
you also had Lunar New Year food. You also had the Asian whatever food. I'm just saying, like, we've had so many things.
There's been tons and tons of food.
So I think people are like hitting that. I think Disney may have gone too hard.
No, I think the problem is right now, like walking in the park, there's probably too many choices.
Yeah.
Of what to eat that's seasonal because there's a ton of options right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah,
no, but I mean like currently, you walk into Disneyland today. I'm not talking about the ones like that have already come and gone.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, like, we talked about this when the foodie guides all came out for the stuff that was all going to be happening this time and the Pixar one.
Plus, you had the Season of Divorce stuff that was also overlapping with.
So
some
it was
of
like Disney did too much at once.
There was a lot going on, but
you could have things themed to all of those. Just don't have as much for each one.
You know how much we all love our Disney food.
It's true. The other option is there is a new brunch option in downtown Disney, and this one I had to tell producer James about when I was writing this because there is a chilaquiles that is available that I know that he is a huge chilaquiles fan. So at Paseo, it is serving. They have been serving dinner and lunch before, but now they're also serving a brunch that is on Saturdays and Sundays from 9 to 2. And they have a lot of the normal dishes as well, but they also have some new items like Mama's. Well, one of the normal items is the Mama's Conchita pork pibble, which I don't know what that is. It looks really good in the photo that we have linked in the show notes. Queso fundido. Chilaquiles is going to be on that menu. Ooh. There's a lot.
There you go.
Oh my God. Okay. You could try some of these now.
There's a Jarache de Asada. Let's see. There's Paseo waffles.
Ooh.
Duck leg carnitas. Yum.
Oh, no. The Paseo waffles are made with duck leg carnitas, sweet potato puree, Brussels sprouts, poached egg, and chipotle tamarind glaze.
Wow.
I'm excited to kind of see this.
So it's like upscale brunch foods. There's also a signature Maya Thai, which is made with Dos Hombres, mezcal, mandarin syrup, avocado pit, orgeat, lime juice, orange bitters, and a salted guava foam.
Ooh, interesting.
Man. This is definitely elevated brunch.
I want to try Paseo when we're there because I've heard that their food is really good. I heard it's a little pricey, but it's good.
See, maybe it's just me. Okay, this is going to sound weird. Maybe somebody else understands where I'm coming from, so I will be vulnerable with all of you.
Okay.
I think I've got a thing. There's like a food fancy level.
Okay.
That as soon as it reaches that level, somehow it no longer seems appealing to me. And I think,
you think this is too fancy?
I think this is like too fancy for my for my level is. So none of it. I've not been like feeling the need that I need to go check out Paseo. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying.
Do you understand? I feel like there's hate's gonna come at me for this. Well, I'm gonna be vulnerable with all of you. I trust you all. I feel that way about Napa Rose. I think Napa Rose might be too fancy for my palate.
I kind of understand that. I do. Is it Napa Rose where you can sit at the chef's table?
Yes.
I think
it'd be a wonderful
experience that one time.
But I think...
Did you not feel that way about Carthay Circle restaurant?
A little bit, but not quite to that level. But sometimes I think it's like too fancy, and then like my brain like can't compute and doesn't understand what the things are, so it doesn't like... Reading the menu is not appetizing.
So
does that make sense? Because I don't like. I don't. My brain doesn't go there.
Sure.
It's kind of like we were joking about this. I'll tell you all this too. This is a safe space.
Wow.
This is a safe space.
Okay.
We have Blue Bayou reservations right now. We are hoping to turn those Blue Bayou reservations into Rancho del Zocalo reservations because. Something, for me anyways, something about the Rancho menu is more exciting and like sounds more delicious to me than what Blue Bayou currently has. And you all know we love Blue Bayou, but there's something about the menu right now that's just not quite.
But you also have a thing that you're like, if steak's on the menu, you're getting the steak.
Yeah, there's steak on the menu.
No, but that's what I'm saying is like...
I do other stuff, too.
Okay.
No, I do other stuff, too. That's usually my default.
So here's what I think. Here's my opinion about what you're saying. Like, my view on the same topic, not judging your view at all, is when I think of a theme park, like I think of Disney, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the Venn diagram of like fancy eating and like theme park has kind of a limited amount of overlap.
Yeah, no,
I am not in the overlap of that. Like the fact that there are fine dining like Carthay Circle, I won't count Blue Bayou because Blue Bayou I think is like a theme dining experience. I don't think it's like fancy. Like there's not things on the Blue Bayou menu that I'm like, I have no idea what this is because it's too fancy. Like some of the stuff maybe that Paseo had. But like I don't know. Like, I know that there is a section of people that they love those experiences at the theme park and they want to go do it. I am not one of those people. I'd rather have a Bengal barbecue skewer or like something from Jolly Holiday. Like when I think of a theme park, I want like theme park accessible food that like I know what it is. It makes sense to me. It's like hearty. Like, I don't know. People are going to come for me too because I know that there are people. Eric, who I do hub crawl with, he is one of the people that like any premium experience at Disney, he wants to do it. So concierge level at the hotel, staying on property at Disneyland, like all of those things are like a big deal to him where it's not to me. And maybe it's because I grew up like really poor that like that just doesn't like, it just seems like not a waste. It's not where I want to spend my money.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend my money having more days in the park than having one day with like a really fancy meal. So not interested in the Paseo brunch? No?
Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing like I don't know. There's nothing that's made me feel like, oh, we need, like I don't have the like I need to try it when we're there. It's not like a must do type thing for me, if that makes any sense.
DL Weekly announces the boarding of the Trivia Express, nonstop star speeder service to the moon of Endor. All passengers, please prepare for immediate boarding.
Hello and welcome to Trivia Land. How are you two doing?
I mean, I'm sad to be off. Oh, well, That would have been
You're
good
even
earlier.
further removed from the cruise and still even sadder, aren't you?
Yes, very sad.
I know.
More
Summer.
time has passed.
Hey,
That's right. We have another Disney trip coming up very soon. So.
That's right. I was going to say it's June, which means we're finally into trip month. So
Yeah.
get ourselves excited for that. But I've got 4 questions for you, mostly history related. One of them actually inspired from one of the trivia sessions on the cruise ship that we did.
Oh.
From one of the trivia sessions that you weren't there for.
Oh, still uh-oh.
Yeah, it makes it even better, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, first question for
By
you.
the way, cheater, sitting with Kevin Kearns. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Never helped me with any of the Disney stuff, but was awesome to talk to. Hopefully we get to talk again someday. But I'll start you off a little easier. True or false? True or false? 50% chance.
True or false?
The horseshoes that the horses wear along Main Street have a special polyurethane coating to give them better traction and to increase the clip-clop sound as they walk.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say true.
I say true.
All right, both going with true.
I mean,
Ooh.
there's a layer. I know there's a layer. I feel like I've seen it. Is it
Have you
intentionally?
paid that close attention to the shoes on the horses?
Yes, I have. But I don't know if it's intentional, like if it's for those specific reasons. That's the only thing I'm a little
I don't think you would be
leery
that tricky.
of. I don't know. He said this was inspired by Disney Cruise Line trivia, and that is not for the faint of heart. We think Trivia Land is challenging. Cruise trivia is a different level.
Well, you got all the super fans on the cruise ship, so
I'll stay with true.
it'd be like doing trivia questions at Disneyland, like on Main Street or something. Anyway.
It's true. I remember the Star Wars trivia. That was a whole nother level.
Yeah.
All right. Question 2. What was the Lily Bell up to before Walt acquired it?
What do you mean? What was it up to?
Wow.
What was it doing? Where'd it come
So,
from?
like, where'd they get it from? Kind of like how the engines were,
Yeah.
had a life pre-Disneyland.
Oh, I don't know.
I
Is
don't
this
know
also
either.
from a trivia question on board the
This
ship?
is not. This is my own finding.
I have no idea.
I don't know either. It was probably at some other amusement park being pulled around or something. I don't know.
Maybe some amusement park and no idea. Got it. You don't want to throw a guess down,
I'm going to
Teresa?
say it was at like a... I don't think that'd be it either. I was going to say like a museum.
Museum, yeah. All right. Question number 3. A unique Peter Pan themed restaurant opened at Disneyland Park on August 29th, 1955. What was it called until 1969?
Oh,
The Chicken of the Sea.
Chicken of the Sea.
Tuna. No. The
Tuna
Chicken of
ship.
the Sea.
Pirate ship.
Pirate ship. The Chicken of the Sea pirate ship.
Chicken of the Sea pirate ship, not tuna ship.
No.
Got it. Writing that one down. Making sure I got it right. All right. And finally, what Disneyland attraction featured the running of the goats?
What attraction?
Yes.
What attraction in Disneyland
Yep.
featured the running of the goats?
Running of the goats.
Was it Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland?
What's the goats, though, not pack mules? I'm going to say what did they call it? What was the area in the back that was the petting zoo?
The Frontier. Oh, that's a good one. What the heck was it called?
Well, Galaxy's Edge took it
Yeah,
over.
no, I know. It was the Big Thunder Ranch.
Big Thunder Ranch.
That's a better answer than mine.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
I think it
with
was Big Thunder Ranch Barbecue is what the food place was in there, but I think just Big Thunder Ranch, yeah. You almost forgot that existed, didn't you?
me.
Yeah.
I never got to visit it.
Because a long time ago when Hunchback came out, there was like the Festival of Foods back there.
Yeah, I feel like a terrible Disneyland fan that I never got to go, that I never visited back there.
And now Star Wars Land is just
And it
Jedi
ate it
mind
up.
wiping your memory.
Yeah, there you go.
That it
That's
doesn't
what I'm
even
gonna say.
exist.
That makes more sense because there's a petting zoo there. I don't think there was running goats in
Well,
Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland. But when you say goat, all I think of is Big Thunder Mountain and the goat
What's
chewing the
goat's name? Is it
dynamite.
Billy?
Sure, yeah. Yeah,
Bah.
I'm pretty sure it's Billy.
Bah.
But yeah, Big Thunder Ranch makes a heck of a lot more sense.
All right. 4 questions down, 4 answers given. How you two did this week? Well, we got to wait until after the discussion topic.
Well, It's that time again. We are almost back in the parks. It seems crazy because this year is our most boom, boom, boom park trips. Usually they're a little bit more spread out. But we, of course, are going to be having another meetup while we were back in the area. So next meetup will be on Saturday, June 15th at 5 p.m. This time, we're actually going to be meeting with everyone over in the Disneyland picnic area. If you're not sure where that is, it's kind of it's right there but hidden. If you don't know where it is, you may not know where it is, sort of thing. So it's, how would you describe it? If you're looking at the entrance to Disneyland,
if you know,
to the left of where the entrance of Disneyland is,
there's restrooms.
There's a
right across
section.
from the men's. Is the men's room the further one?
There's a section that's basically hidden by these big shrub things
between the bathrooms and the tram. Basically,
there's a big, but it's kind of like a circular shrub area. Inside
we'll post
of there,
it on
we
social
will post
media.
a map, but inside of there is where the picnic area is, which is, it's like this hidden little quiet zone. But anyways, we're going to have the meetup there this time. So those of you that are at the parks, it's a much quicker way for you to just kind of bop out of the parks if you want to come say hi.
Nobody should be using it for a band thing or whatever.
Hopefully there's not going to be some sort of soccer game happening like what happened last time during our meetup and we had to quickly refigure out where we were going to go. Oh, looks like the monorail even goes through the picnic area there.
Does.
So we've got some ambiance and some theming. I love it. June 15th, that's Saturday, June 15th at 5 p.m., we will be hanging out over at the Disneyland picnic area. And as of right now, it's Tage, myself, James, and Vern that are all going to be there. So both,
as of now, something's going to happen between now and then?
Both hosts and both producers will be there.
It only happens once a year.
Jewelry isn't a gift you give just once. It's a way to remind your loved one of a beautiful moment every time they see it. Blue Nile can help you find the gift that says how you feel and says it beautifully with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com to find the perfect jewelry gift for any occasion. BlueNile.com.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Well, back again this week are Tage and James to continue telling us about their amazing 13-night transatlantic Disney cruise.
Yeah, you can't contain me to just Trivia Land.
So we wrapped and we're talking about entertainment. We still have more entertainment to talk about. So, James, let's go ahead and talk about, we wrapped with the archives talks, which I'm so jealous about.
I was
how
texting
amazing.
You during them and
I was dying. I looked at Vern and I said, we need to do a transatlantic cruise just because there's archives talks on the transatlantic cruises.
They did say it's not a guarantee that it'll happen on all of them.
They need to tell us ahead of time.
They like to have something like that on there to really kind of help.
So
it was cool because Kevin talked basically every C day. He had a presentation.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Otherwise, for entertainment, kind of those bigger presentation things, we ran into what we'd expect to see on any other kind of cruise line. So we had a comedian who did a lot of physical comedy. His name was Jonathan Burns. He was fantastic. He was also a contortionist.
So I have to tell you the one thing that I'm going to remember forever from him.
Okay.
So his thing was every time he did something that people should clap about, he'd reach into his hoodie and he had confetti in his hoodie and he wouldn't throw it, but he would just drizzle it out onto the stage. So like there were times like there was a time where he had like a girl come up and like help him, like a little girl from the thing.
Yeah.
And he was like when he was done with her helping him, he'd be like, and so it's just been the thing, like anytime James and I made a joke about something being like fun or exciting, we'd be like, so you just kind of wave your hand out
drizzle
and, like,
your fake confetti on the ground.
Graceful.
But then what was funny was there was one segment where he like took his shirt off, but then had another one under it and had more confetti. Anyway, that was the one
That's
thing.
fun.
Also, his social media handle was hilarious. He's I Heart Burns
There you go.
on everything because it's like I Heart Burn.
Yep.
He was really funny. He was awkward, but funny.
Yeah,
There you go.
he embraced it. So that was great. We had a magician named Eric Jones, might be the best magician I've seen in person.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible with his creativity and sleight of hand and crowd work and everything. Like, this dude's got it.
Great story, too.
Dang.
We ran into him in the hallway by the Buena Vista Theater one of the days, and he had like a tag on his shoe that I wanted to ask him about that I didn't have a chance on the performance the night before to ask him about because it was in the Evolution. It was it was the adult
more intimate
version
setting.
of the show. And I asked him about it, and he said, what is it, like his friend makes clothing or something?
Something like that, yeah.
But I actually, when we got on land, I looked up on YouTube because he had been on Penn and Teller Fool Us, and he fooled them, which the cool thing was that he also he told us a little bit about how Penn and Teller Fool Us worked, which was like, you have to tell the producer how the trick is done, and then if Penn and Teller guess it, the producer tells the Penn and Teller if they got it right or not. But he was super cool. He was like, I don't know, he was classy. I just liked him.
I just had to, I don't know if you just saw the light bulb happen and me suddenly, that sounded a heck of a lot like the magician that was just on the Norwegian ship that we were on that had like special clothing, but it was his family member started making clothing specific for magicians, but it was very unique. Yeah. And he also was on Penn and Teller Fool Us and had fooled him. So I'm like, wait a minute, this is sounding, that would have been
that's funny.
Bizarre. Not the same person.
The thing that got me
not the same person
was he did a bunch of stuff in the Walt Disney Theater the first time. That was the all ages magic. And then he did an adults one in Evolution. And the one in Evolution I loved because he showed people how some of his magic stuff worked.
Oh, that's
and I'm all
neat.
about that.
Yeah, that's very neat.
Yep. So we also saw there was a ventriloquist, there was a former Broadway performer, but the last highlight from the people that came on board for us would have been the mentalist that came on board. His name is Chris Cox. He also does a little bit of magic, but like there was just a lot of really good mind work that he had put on there, with highlights being that this dude came prepared with leotards.
Yes, at the end of both of his shows, the family show and the adult show, he would have somebody like think of like a character or something.
They pulled random words out of
random words, and he would take off the clothes at the end, and he'd be like, the first night it was like a tiger.
It was an orange tiger leotard were the three words.
And he took off his clothes and he was wearing an orange tiger leotard. And then the adult one, he had this married couple, and he brought the wife up on stage and was like, I'm going to read your mind, and like did all this stuff and was like, you're from this place. And she was. And he's like, and like, what was it? Like, he kept in the middle of his show, he let her go back, but randomly throughout the show, he'd be like, I'm still getting something from you. Did you have like I don't know, what was some of the...
I don't remember what they were. It was
like
amazing.
Specific something.
Yeah, as an example, it'd be something like...
Your birthday's July 12th, right?
Yeah, just like out of nowhere. And she's like, yep. And so it was funny because they ended up showing up that couple was in a bunch of stuff that we had went to. And somebody else asked them, like, did you figure out how he did it yet? And she was like, no.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
He was really, really cool.
Yeah, so those were kind of the big things that took over the stage. They also did like a cabaret night with the theater performers. That was really nice. They did about a 45-minute medley of Disney music, so that was really enjoyable. But then there was also the crew talent show. So crew from all around the ship had an opportunity to try out and get on stage. There was a lot of musical performances. There was like a dance performance, gymnastics performance, but the highlight was the sand artist.
Yeah, so this guy, if you haven't seen it before, they basically have a desk that is lit from behind, and they use sand on top of it to make pictures. And a lot of that doesn't sound very exciting because you're like, yeah, you can throw some sand and make a picture. But the most amazing part of it is usually they'll take what's already there and they'll just like change it a little bit and it becomes a totally different thing. And this cast member did a whole melody of Moana music. And it was like emotional. Like people got emotional over his portrayal of everything because the whole idea was that we're all voyagers.
Sure.
We talked to him in the hall. Like the next day we saw him in the hall because we had done an animation class with him before the talent show.
Because he was the onboard animator. So he ran all the animation class. So clearly artistically talented. This dude was incredible.
Yeah. We stopped him and he was talking about how he had done a lot of this kind of sand stuff before, but he said he usually does it. It's usually very religious. Like he's very religious. So it's usually very religious kind of whatever. But he wanted to do something for the talent show that was more like general for everybody. It was amazing. People we talked to later, like that was the highlight of the talent show.
Absolutely was.
But there were some really talented people there, like, to be clear.
Did Hey show up in the Moana?
No.
Oh.
Neither did Pua. But he had the ships. He had Tafiti.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like, it was wonderful. I watched it again later in our stateroom because, like, they replayed it like that, later that night in the stateroom. So James and I sat and, like, watched it again because it was just amazing.
It was so good.
I wonder if somebody put it on YouTube because I think it would be amazing to, like, see again.
Yeah. Wow.
What else did they have, James?
They did a couple, like, workshops or Q&As about things. They did one for, like, puppeteering. We didn't go to that, but our dinner table mates did and talked a little bit about it.
Puppeteering?
Yeah, so, like, in Beauty and the Beast, Lumiere and Cogsworth.
Oh, yeah.
And wolves.
Oh,
wolves,
sure.
So, yeah, so they talked about how
cool.
they do a lot of that. That was neat. We went to one about costuming. That one was pretty neat. They brought out
cool.
the whole costume staff that's on board. There's four people. There are 5 on our ship, but they're used to having 4.
Wow.
Who manage all the costumes for the stage shows and the entertainment cast when they go out and do their shows as well.
Wow.
So they are doing a ton. One of them is the cosmetologist who does all the hair and all the makeup. And I'm like, that person is so dang busy.
Yeah. Wow.
One of the cool things that they showed with this is they had some of the cast come out in costumes. Mm-hmm. And they showed a quick change because they talked about how some of them have to be changed so quickly.
Yeah.
So they had this guy, they said, we're going to show you what it looks like off. And it was between Be Our Guest, which is apparently like so many people have to be on stage for it, then they have to change quickly to be on the next thing. So they had all the stuff there and they showed you like how they did it so quickly and how different pieces come. And then some of the questions were interesting, like, at what point is somebody not allowed to go back on stage? Like, if how much of the costume has to be on?
Oh, sure.
Or they just don't put the character out there. She said the only required thing from Disney is you cannot go on the stage without shoes. Like that is like an insurance thing. Like that is not allowed.
Got it.
So if you have your whole costume but no shoes, you ain't going on the stage.
Wow.
So they try to get people, and they showed like different costume pieces. Like 2 of the guys dressed up as cheese for Be Our Guest, but they had like cheese blocks like on their arms. And so they said like if a couple cheese pieces on the arms aren't there, it's not going to detract from the costume. You can still tell what they are, so they can go out.
Sure.
But like some of the other people, like there's like wigs and stuff that go with it and all this stuff. And those people, depending on how it was, just you can not have them out, or they can go out a little bit later. And it won't be as big of a deal.
That makes sense.
But there's people on stage, she said, that like they have to be out there because like their job is to like move a set piece off or move a set piece on or whatever. And so some of those things are a little more important. But they said the quick changes are very difficult and you just got to get good at it. And you usually have a person like helping you a little bit.
Yeah.
And like putting shoes on for you and stuff is you put your foot on the person's like thigh, they're on the ground, and they'll like do all that while you're trying to deal with them. It's amazing how they have to do this and how quick it was.
Yeah,
That's a cool behind the
literally
scenes thing.
Extra choreography.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And then the other thing James didn't talk about was they had a crew hide and seek, which I thought was really fun. You could play it as a game. James and I chose not to. But what happens is we all met in the atrium. The steering committee, which is all of the officers, so the captain, the first officer, the cruise director, the assistant cruise director, the head of the hotel place, the head of the restaurants,
the
head
HR
of housekeeping,
team,
What?
The HR team.
The HR team. Like, all of these people come out, and they're in their whites, their officer whites.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, get a good look at what they look like. Everybody who's going to play this game has to stay in the atrium for like 5 or 10 minutes.
It was like 10 minutes.
They're going to go and change, and they're going to be all over the ship in other roles, and you have to find them. And the way that the points worked is, let's say, Teresa, you're one of the people.
Mm-hmm.
If I found you, the rule was I had to point to you and say, I found you. And then you had a slip of paper with a point value on it, and you'd hand it out. And you had only so many of those.
Oh, okay.
And
sure.
so you'd hand that out, and then as people found people, you would combine that together, and you could get a point total. And so some people were harder to find, so they were higher point values.
Sure,
etc.
sure.
Fun things are like the captain. The captain was dressed in a like
He was in the.
maintenance-
Oh, I thought he was in lifeguard outfit.
like a life. No.
Oh, he was maintenance. You're right.
Yeah, he was dressed in the like orange maintenance outfit
Yeah.
where like the painters are on the deck.
jumpsuit, yeah.
So he was like in that with like a hood on and everything, so it was hard to find. He also was one of the like 2 or 3 cast members that didn't have a name tag on because his name tag said Captain whatever.
Oh, sure.
And the cruise director also had like cruise director, so like they didn't have name tags on where they were.
Yeah.
But the cruise director ended up being at Flo's, like flipping burgers. There was a couple other people that were out around Flo's, like cleaning up the tables. There was somebody who was a lifeguard. There was somebody who was loading people at the aqueduct. That one was hard to find because you'd actually have to like go up to the aqueduct.
I think they were just at the base of the aqueduct. I don't.
Well,
think
whatever. They were around the aqueduct.
One of the people I loved was like, I was a poolside attendant doing a terrible job folding towels. Like sincerity, I love it.
There was a lady who I was pretty sure we walked by, and I was like, I think she was one of them. She was in one of the staircases sweeping. She was like one of the custodial people. The assistant cruise director was in the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique in the
That'd
full
be a
outfit.
hard one to find because going into the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique.
Well, and for us, the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique was on deck 5 on the side of the atrium. So, like, there's really you usually never had a reason to walk by there unless you were going to the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique.
Makes sense, yeah.
So we found, 3 or 4 probably?
I think so. Confidently,
and
we
there
found
was some
4.
people that ended up getting like 300 and something points because they found like a lot, like out of like 400 points. Or
They
something.
also divided and conquered as a team to find multiple. So who knows how many multiples of the same person they might have found too.
But at the end, they came back to the atrium when the time limit was up, and they were all dressed in their outfits.
Yeah.
I was like, this is such a fun, creative game.
And like not really difficult for them to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our cruise director, Anthony, though, did make a joke that he's like, I'm really looking forward to it. So I don't know if like he liked it as much, but it was cool. He did send a shout out, though, which I thought was very awesome of him for this in particular. He did mention how hard the people at Flo's work and like how it was hard for him to do that job, but like these people make it easy.
Yeah.
He also, the last day of the cruise before Believes, talked about how great everybody was, from housekeeping to maintenance to everybody should, anytime they see anybody on the ship, they should like thank them for their work because they all worked very hard. The other thing we did was James and I really like Eurovision, and Eurovision was happening while we were on the cruise, and there was a ton of people on the WhatsApp chat that wanted to do it. So we all crammed into the District Lounge and watched Eurovision. And it was hilarious because there was so many people from the UK. When the UK performer was done, like half the people left because it was the late dinner time. So they all went and had late dinner.
Yeah.
And then they came back from late dinner and they were like giving the results of the competition about that time. So it was like, it was just kind of funny. It was a great time. People had a good time. It was fun.
That's neat that
to be in
Disney
a
like
group.
put it up so you guys could all watch it, and
Yeah.
it wasn't just like everyone cramming into someone's room.
Was a thing because I think there was a misunderstanding because when we got there, nothing was set up for it. We were there about 10 minutes early. There was a instrument set up for like a band or something. And one of the guys showed up and was like pointing on the like itinerary, like, no, it's the thing and whatever.
Yeah.
So they had to, they had the guy like pull the screen down and like get it on the right channel. And then like the instruments were kind of in the way. So they were like moving instruments. And then like halfway through the show, I think they had relocated that group that was going to play because then they came and started taking stuff to a different area. It worked out. We also lost signal
During the French performance.
So it was about 3 minutes we lost signal, and everybody was like panicking because it was right towards the end where voting and stuff was going to start.
Yeah.
We're like, no. But it was great. It was wonderful to be in a group of people that were all from all different parts of the world.
That is cool.
Watching their countries. A ton of people brought food from different countries.
Oh.
And like candies and stuff.
That's really neat.
One guy brought a bag and he pulled out like a 12-pack of beer. And somebody sitting next to us grabbed one of the beers and he's like, this isn't a great beer.
The guy left all the beers.
Some of the candies and stuff were fun though and good. And
That's
there was some
cool,
stuff
though.
From, like Australia and stuff.
What a
that was
fun like random like community get together.
Yeah.
And just like enjoy. That's really cool. And how everyone could
come together,
but also like be proud of like and showing off their country, showing off stuff from their country and like what an exciting thing to do. That's really neat.
Yeah, it was really cool. We've watched Eurovision a lot. We've even had Eurovision parties at our house before, but like it was cool to be around a bunch of strangers who were also into it, and they actually had like skin in the game because they were all from different countries. So it was really cool.
Very, very neat.
All right.
So any other so what did you guys we talked a lot about nighttime entertainment. What did you guys do during the daytime?
Well, that was the trivia. That was
but you only did
the archives
you didn't do
talks.
that many trivias.
We hung out on the deck. We ate a lot at cabanas. We also ate a couple times in the main dining room for lunch, which makes sense. But like something that I had not considered was we didn't have our servers for lunch because because on Disney Cruise Line, like Teresa said last year, you get your dining crew every night and you rotate through the 3 main dining rooms and they go with you, which was amazing. What else did we do during the days, James? Like we kind of slept in on some of the days that were later.
We slept in on most days, which was unusual for us, but that's because of the time change.
Yeah.
No, otherwise we kind of just found 1 or 2 things to do and just kind of moved around at our own pace.
We played Mickey's Detective Agency. There was 3 games, and you would go.
This is an onboard.
This is on the Fantasy and the Dream.
I think it's only on the Dream right now.
Is it only on the Dream?
And it's an onboard game like that. Think of like what's the thing at Walt Disney World? That game.
The Sorcerer. It's a Sorcerer something or other.
Quest.
Yeah. Basically, what you did is you went to. There was 2 locations on the ship that you could start it from. And you grabbed a card and you grabbed a little guidebook that kind of told you where little points were. And one of them was like a Muppet themed one where it was like figure out who stole the instrument or whatever and stopped the performance or whatever. There was one that was, what were the other ones, James?
The other 2 are kind of whodunits.
Yeah. So you were trying to
Disney
like
characters.
eliminate villains to figure out who had done whatever caper. So we did the easy one first, and you got your little card, which had kind of like almost like a QR code-esque kind of thing on it. Okay. And so you would go to these picture frames that when you would stand by, even if you didn't have the card, if you'd walk by them, they'd come alive. So it was kind of cool.
That's fun.
But you would hold your card up and it would scan that you had this game and it would have you line it up. And then it would like turn into this scene that was like telling you about stuff.
That's
and
fun.
You would go to these different picture frames all over the ship. The Muppets one was harder because not only did you go to the picture frames, but Pepe had his own little miniature stateroom door that had a bunch of clues on it.
Yeah.
There was also like a casting board that was by the Walt Disney Theater that had some stuff on there. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was nice because it wasn't just like hold it up and watch something. A lot of the things had something interactive you had to do with it as well.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way to kind of wander around the ship and see a bunch of things.
Your card sometimes acted as a magnet, so you'd pull like metal things off of a shelf to like find something.
Yeah.
One time it acted as like a laser to like cut ropes so you could bust these crates open. Stuff like that.
Wow.
That was awesome. Honestly, unexpected highlight from the ship was that experience and going through that. It was really cool use of the space, gave people something to do and wander around, and a ton of people were doing it. So that was great.
I was just looking it up. They have something, I don't know if it's called the same thing, but when you said Pepe's Door, they have that on the Fantasy as well. So I don't know if it's the same, if the game has the same name or if it's different names.
The other thing that was funny was we found out from someone else, so we did it. If you called Pepe's stateroom, you would get like a little message from him and you could select from a bunch of options and he would say different things to you. So we were, one of the days we were going out on the pool deck and there was a phone by the elevator. I'm like, I'm just going to call him.
Yep.
So I called him. I thought it was funny. I hung up. I had James call him. He thought it was funny.
It was funny.
That's funny.
Pepe's awesome, by the way.
The other thing that we did wandering around the ship is every day at sea, they did like a photo scavenger hunt. And so
And it was themed.
Yeah, so there was like a close-up picture of carpets or wallpaper or tables and things. And so you'd have to...
Cast member costumes.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was hard.
That one was hard.
That's fun, though.
Yeah, so you had to write down what it was, turn it in. We never won a prize or anything, but you had the glory of knowing that we did it right.
The only one we never completed was one of the last days.
The last day.
The last day was each photo was of a flag, and you'd have to name what country it was from, and then you had to find a cast member from that country and write their name down. So we were too busy doing a bunch of stuff that day to like pay attention to cast. Like,
sure,
we just didn't have time.
We also didn't remember meeting a French or Italian cast member, so...
That's not true. We had... Oh, no, he was from Spain.
Yep.
We remember this one thing about Tony. I don't remember what Tony was.
Tony was like an assistant cruise director.
No. That wasn't
was it activities director, maybe? I don't know.
He
Somewhere
was something, but he was joking on like the morning show thing that he's like, today I'm Tony from Spain. Tomorrow I'll be Tony in Spain. And like that was his whole thing. So we kept every time we'd see him, I'd be like, oh, James, there's Tony from Spain or Tony in Spain or whatever.
There you go.
He was also well known because on the morning show that they would do, which was Good Morning Disney Dream or something like that.
Yep.
The cruise director, the assistant cruise director, and Tony, I think, would like have this show that would talk about things that were going on during the day, talk about things that happened the day before. If you put in a cast compliment thing at the guest services, they would like read them.
Oh, that's cool.
But one of the things that Tony was known for was he had a bunch of rubber chickens for some reason. We missed that morning. But he brought them on stage one of the talent show day, because he was like, I wanted to do it, but they wouldn't let me do it. Well, they brought all the things out, and he would like squeeze them and be like, it was hilarious.
There you go.
He was funny. That was kind of, and then I walked around the ship a lot. James enjoyed the pool and Funnel Vision a lot.
Funnel Vision
actually
was awesome.
Of the ships we've been on, Funnel Vision on the Disney Dream was actually watchable. Like during the day on the other ships we've been on, it's not bright enough to watch. But it was bright enough for us to watch. And it was great at night. They had movies on pretty late at night. We also had one night, I know this isn't a day thing, this is a night thing. They had what was it, James?
They had stargazing.
Oh,
So
that's
they
cool.
Turned off part of the rear of the ship, I think it was.
Yep.
And
The
so
aft.
no lights were on.
Yeah.
And they were back there like talking about the constellations. And since we were in
That's
the middle
really
of the ocean,
neat.
you could see it. It was cool. The downside to it was they had some audio issues where a couple of the speakers for some reason weren't working.
Sure.
And people were like, speak up. And people were being loud. And,
Yeah.
but it was cool. I mean, look, that's my phone picture
Yeah.
of the sky. It was pretty cool. They also did the diaper dash, which was fun. We only had 4
Hilarious.
toddlers.
I'm surprised you had 4 toddlers on a transatlantic cruise, though.
So transatlantic requires kids, I think, to be a year or older, and so I think it was tough for them to
think
find
it was
enough.
6 months or older.
6 months
so,
for the normal
so then
cruise.
That limited your field even further then.
Yeah.
The crew also did teach us some knot tying.
Oh, yes.
So we learned some nautical knots.
James knows one of them
I'm very
well. He's
good
so
at the
proud.
figure 8 knot. None of the other ones.
None of the others. Animation classes. You hinted that you did animation
We did
classes.
We did one.
Just one? In
Just
13
one.
days?
Just one. Who did we draw, James?
Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep, Dumbo being held by Mama Jumbo's trunk as well.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
it was nice because the animation stuff was like 45 minutes, so we
Yeah.
had a lot of time to go slow and really go through a lot
Slower
of the
than Disneyland
things.
even. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, in Disneyland, it's like
That's
15,
quick.
20 minutes, you're done.
Yeah.
So,
It's almost a little too quick.
yeah, so 45 minutes was nice to be able to kind of go through a lot of it. It was really nice.
Wow.
Pretty good
James
setup for
also
us.
won Marvel Superfan.
Yeah, my first time going in, I'm figuring this out so I know how the game works for Star Wars. And then I won.
I kept saying anyway, there was a guy he was playing against at one point was one of the finalists. His name was Gabriel. He was a kid. He was doing really well. The problem was he would buzz in and then his mind would go blank.
Oh, no.
So he lost.
Yeah.
I kept telling James, I'm like, James, you stole that from him because he should have won. Like, I think he probably, if they were sitting down,
Sure.
this kid could totally out Marvel James.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But Star Wars took James 2 tries.
Took me 2 tries, yeah.
He also beat Gabriel at the second try of Star Wars.
I did.
as well.
So tell
poor
us
kid.
what
Okay.
is this game?
So these super fan things. So everyone comes in and you're given a set of 4 cards that say A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
And so everyone participates in multiple choice until they whittle you down to 10 people. Once you're down to 10, you go up to the front of the stage and you're given a whiteboard and a whiteboard marker.
Okay.
They ask questions and you have a very short amount of time to write your answer down until they whittle you down to 4. Then on 4, you're brought up on stage. You have to introduce yourselves. So I got to always make the joke in Star Wars, like, I'm from Wisconsin, may as well be Hoth. So, I get fun in these onstage moments.
James was on stage a lot, just to be clear.
Yeah, a lot more than I expected to be.
He rapped Happy Birthday at some point.
It was hip hop. Thank you. So then you were given, in the Star Wars one, lightsabers, and the Marvel ones, not lightsabers, but basically lightsabers. And it was like a speed buzz in. Like they'd ask a question, you'd buzz in. First one to buzz in gets to answer.
Sure.
First 2 people, the 3, moved on to the final round, which was speed character identifying. So they had a 35-second video of character images.
Ooh.
And they'd play it, and you just have to say the characters' names as quick as you can to get it down. So it moved pretty quick.
Wow.
So I did well at Marvel on that one because I have been playing a lot of the mobile game Marvel Snap, which is a card game. So I've seen a lot of characters. I know a lot of their names. And it also has like locations. So I'm very aware of like planets and cities and things of that sort.
Oh, sure.
So this helped me a lot more than I expected it to get me to survive through and win Marvel Superfan Trivia. So I had a bit of an identity crisis after I lost Star Wars Superfan Trivia. Because I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a Marvel person now.
So were there prizes?
Yes. Just like in trivia, they were medals.
The little rubber medal things?
Yep. So I won 2 of the rubber ship medals because winning Marvel and then winning Star Wars. But just like in the Marvel trivia, Tage will tell you there was a person in the Star Wars trivia that I probably should have lost to. Poor Michael.
Yeah. The other
Those
thing,
on the spot ones are tough.
Yeah. Well, the one he won was like early in the morning. It was like 9:30 in the morning, early because we had time changes and everything.
Sure.
No. That was the Star Wars one I lost. Yeah.
Okay.
This was like midday.
I would just like, James, just to put this on the record, I just want to play this for our listeners.
No.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Disney Dream. Happy birthday to you.
What does that have to do with Marvel and Star
That
Wars
was
Superfans?
him hip hop singing Happy Birthday on one of the things. Because we were talking about it a minute ago that he hip hopped.
We were talking about Superfan stuff.
Tage is very excited to talk about these moments. See, I have like no shame when it comes to doing stuff on cruises and whatnot, and Tage gets very embarrassed.
So here's the problem. The first time we did...
now he's proud. He's sharing it.
The first time we did Star Wars trivia, I also had an A through D thing or whatever, and I ended up on stage at the whiteboard part.
Yeah.
Because they kept asking easy questions like, I can't even throw this because I'd look like a complete idiot. And so I ended up there, and the only reason I got off of stage was because the lady next to me drew the character, and I had blanked on the character.
He had forgotten the name of the pilot of the Ghost.
Yeah.
He wrote down Sabine. The lady next to him had drawn the beginnings of a Twi'lek and wrote green.
And so I said, she deserves it. I just wanted to sit down. And then I think
she also wanted to sit down.
I just didn't play it all because I'm like, nope, not going to almost get on stage with this one again.
Yes.
I do not want to get on stage. In fact, we played that game with him singing Happy Birthday. It was supposed to be like a bunch of people there, and it was like half the room was against the other half of the room. There was 6 of us. So there was 3 things we had to do, and one of the singing ones or something, dancing, something was supposed to be me.
What game are you talking about?
This is a game called Generations. It's supposed to be young generation versus old generation.
Got it, okay.
But people just did not show up to this one.
So I did not want to go up on stage, so I just kept saying nope. And the other lady on our team also did not want to go up, but she eventually did go up.
She probably felt bad for
But James went up twice.
Yep.
But that's okay.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, that was kind of our entertainment. We spent a lot of time, like I said, wandering the ship. We did get out on a couple of the port days to do different things. We can talk about those things later. Yeah.
So are you just really chomping at the bit because we haven't talked about food?
Well, food's going to take a while, and I don't want to be here all night, so I figured,
I will say as
time like the present is what
I will say as we wrap entertainment though, for me the things like trivia and the other standards that I expect to come on the cruise ship for me, were not as good as our other cruise experiences.
Really?
Yep. I think all the other ships we've been on have typically done what I think as the cruise kind of standards for entertainment a little bit better, including a lot of the trivia experience. But I think that's because a lot of the trivia experience, when the trivia hosts have a little bit more opportunity to put their own spin and flavor onto it, they feel more invested into it and it becomes more engaging of an experience. But everything that was Disney specific in terms of entertainment, Disney definitely did better.
If you ever want to interact with every like main Disney character and princess and some characters like Stitch and stuff, there is no better place than a Disney cruise for that. Like, it was so easy to get access to a bunch of different characters.
I feel like I actually have understandings of the Fab 5, Fab 6's personalities now.
Yeah.
That's something I don't feel like I knew before. And I've been missing out on Daisy in my life for so much now.
She is sassy.
Yes.
She is so sassy.
And she gets so left behind so frequently, I feel like. But there's so much personality. And it might be that, we don't have kids, so we don't get to experience a lot of the Disney cartoons and other experiences with it. But there's a lot going on between all 6 of them, plus Chip and Dale and everyone else that we had on board.
You're going to judge me probably, Teresa, but I did not know until this cruise that the big thing for Donald was number one. Number one
duck.
So
That's really where I learned that too.
Yeah. On the cruise
I know
ship?
he's always, I know that he's always like upset that everyone likes Mickey, but I didn't realize that like he like that's his pose. He wants you to pose that he's the number one duck.
I enjoyed that his butt wiggled a lot on
Yes.
this. He wiggled his butt a lot. Oh, we didn't talk about the other thing, James. We had the shipbuilding contest.
We did watch the boat regalia.
The boat regalia was awesome. So apparently we missed the beginning part of it because the beginning part was earlier in the cruise. They had told people they were going to do this, and to become part of this, you had to build a boat.
Oh.
And you had to use stuff that was on the ship to build it, was like the thing.
And it had to hold a soda can.
And it had to hold a soda can and not tip over, and it had to float longer than the other things was like one of the things that you could win. There was like 3 categories. There was like design, like overall. There was like float, like seaworthiness. And what was the other one?
I think it was just overall favorite.
Overall. We watched that. The problem there was the person hosting it did not realize how many entrants there were.
Oh, and there was a lot.
So she was like, "What's your name? Where are you from? Tell us about your ship." And then but there was like 35 or 40
It was
ships
more
or
than
something.
that. It was scheduled to be a 45-minute event. She finished introductions 30 minutes in.
Yeah. I was impressed because one of the entertainment staff, in his full outfit, minus shoes and socks, got into the pool to help do this. I'm like, he didn't even get
full
into
outfit.
He had white shorts on.
Yeah.
Like his not swimming shorts.
His Castaway Key shirts.
Tucked in belt with his white and blue, or not, his red and blue or red and black shirt kind of thing.
Sure.
Going on.
Yep.
And was just in the water. I'm like, that guy is not I would have thought that maybe it would have been a lifeguard, in the lifeguard shorts, like swimming trunks or something.
Yeah.
Nope, he did it. We saw him later, and I said, "Good on you for getting it." And he said, "Yeah." After that, because he had another thing he had to go host, he was like, "That was the quickest shower of my life."
Shout out to Ethan.
I believe it.
Ethan. But that was really fun. They had one that they said that they had never seen before. Somebody used a child's life vest because that was not in the rules. So the base of it was this child's life vest with this boat thing on it.
Smart.
They had a giant one that looked like the Disney Dream with the aqueduct and stuff, but it was made out of a giant cardboard box.
Wow.
And then there was one that looked like a pirate ship, and I don't know exactly what it was made out of, but it was awesome. It had sails and everything. It was great.
These people were not fooling around.
So that's what we did through some of the days.
Very cool.
Ready to pop the question? The jewelers at BlueNile.com have got sparkle down to a science with beautiful lab-grown diamonds worthy of your most brilliant moments. Their lab-grown diamonds are independently graded and guaranteed identical to natural diamonds, and they're ready to ship to your door. Go to BlueNile.com and use promo code POD to get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more. That's code POD at BlueNile.com for $50 off. BlueNile.com, code POD.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
When it comes to family vacations, there are a million different trips you can take. You can get your own trip to Texas. Or if you prefer a vacation from your family, you can always get your own leave the kids with grandma trip to Texas. So go to traveltexas.com/get your own for the only trip to Texas that matters. Yours.
All right, I know it's been killing you that we haven't talked about this yet. We haven't even touched on this yet.
I know, more character talk.
Oh my goodness.
I was going to say food.
Food.
You need to... I'm looking at your list here, sir.
I'm going to go quick. So, what James and I decided to do is we went through, earlier before recording, we went through our photos, because we took photos of everything we ate, and we picked only the stuff that we thought was really good. Like, there wasn't just like,
I need to say this right now. So one of the first things that Tage told me was that the first couple of days, the food was, you were not impressed with the food. I'm impressed. It did turn around though. So spoiler alert, it turned around. I'm shocked to see things that were listed for night 1, night 2, night 3, because that I thought was when the food was not as good as you thought it was. But there were still good things, huh?
Yes, but what I'm telling you is like, we ordered a bunch of stuff, and everything but that, like for night 1, everything but that one item was not very good.
Okay.
We also had stuff like lunches in the main dining room that we didn't. This is only dinners.
Gotcha.
We didn't put lunch stuff. So the first night we were in where, James?
We started in Enchanted Garden, and we had a fun surprise. So when we filled in for our dining request, we'd asked for a table for the two of us. We know that
By ourselves, like separate.
Yep. We got seated at an 8 top, and we're like, okay, well, less full cruise, whatever. And then another couple got seated at the other end of the table. We're like, okay, well, this is pretty much still on our own. It's fine. And then another couple got seated at our table, and we found out the fourth couple asked to move to late dining. So we were going to be at a full table. It seems like Disney kind of profiles you to put with people with similar people, because we were with 2 other couples of 2 guys, just like us.
2 other same-sex couples.
Yep. And so we all kind of got to bond over that. One of the other couples also asked for a table of their own. They were just married, and so they were having their little celebration, but they got stuck with us.
Teresa, they got married at Walt Disney World.
Did they?
And they talked about how they spent $60,000 to get married at Disney World.
Yep.
But also they are cast members there, so that is the discounted rate they got. Because one of them works in Animal Kingdom with the characters.
Yep.
One of them works in Magic Kingdom with PhotoPass. And then the other couple we got seated with does not work for Disney. One guy works for like a lab or something, and I don't remember what the other guy did.
I just need to say that with that price tag, even after their discount, that had to have been one epic Disney
Their reception
wedding.
Was at the Riverside or something.
It wasn't even in the park?
Nope.
No. Because he said that the park thing would have been even, like way more.
Yeah.
Wow.
The pictures that they showed us was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It was clearly magical.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, they had a great wedding. This was kind of their honeymoon cruise thing. And they were going to Disneyland Paris when we got off at the end.
Dang.
Both the other couples did. So
yeah, both the other couples got off. One of them didn't even stay in Barcelona. They went right to Paris.
Just went.
The other couple spent a day because we saw them actually while we were waiting for our hop on, hop off bus. They were across the street because we hear James, and we turn around and we're like, oh, it's Jared and Francisco.
Riding the competing hop on, hop off bus.
Across the street, yeah. So
that's funny.
Anyway, so night 1 we were in Enchanted Garden, which was my favorite of the 3 main dining rooms in terms of theme and everything. I don't know. I just really liked it. So the only thing I had that night that was really good, you're going to sense a theme here because I don't get to eat a lot of seafood because James doesn't like seafood. I had this, for an appetizer, I had the smoked salmon carpaccio, which had capers, finely chopped shallots, pink peppercorns, and a dill honey mustard dressing. It was very good. James, did you have anything night one?
Yes. So my favorite thing from night one was my soup. I had the chilled mango and papaya soup.
Which the server was like, it's cold, just so you know.
And I'm like, it says chilled in the thing, but also really appreciate it because on our last cruise, I ordered 2 things that I expected to be warm and they were cold. So that was very surprising. So him just throwing it out there, I'm like, you know what? It was great. It was like an absolutely delicious smoothie. Soups are sometimes confusing to me because I don't know if I should chew or just drink it or whatever it is. But this was like distinct and
I
good.
tasted it. It was delicious.
Oh, so good.
Night 2, where were we, James?
Night 2, we moved to Royal Palace.
So in Royal Palace, themed for princesses and stuff, I had the Chateaubriand roasted filet steak, which came with potatoes with shallots, some buttered green beans, etc. It was pretty good. I also had the oven-baked salmon royale, which was a king smoked salmon with horseradish crush accompanied by sautéed Swiss chard, some cauliflower puree, and a white wine beurre blanc. Both of these were very good. I think the oven-baked salmon was better. And then for the dessert, I had a Grand Marnier souffle because I know I'm never going to make a souffle. So the fact that like I can go somewhere and get a souffle.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that was weird, there was a couple of times during our meals that because we're in a fine dining establishment, like the server would do things for you. So
sure.
like he's like, let me prepare this souffle for you. And he like jammed the spoon in the middle of the souffle and then like poured the sauce in the middle or whatever. And I was kind of like, okay. And then one of the other nights I had like a lobster tail and he's like, let me de-shell that for you. And he like took it off the plate and like took the shell off and did all this stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. James, what did you have?
This night for me, the one highlight was the appetizer. They had fried brie. So I'm used to cheese curds and normal cheese, but with brie.
We had that in one of our nights too. I think that was at Lumiere's.
Yep. Didn't expect it to be so good, but man, it was good. Just proof fried cheese is good.
Yeah.
Fried cheese is delicious.
Our third night, we were finally in Animator's Palette.
I was going to say, I recognize your thing on the list there.
Now, I will tell you, with Animator's Palette, I think other than the final night where we got to animate, because on the thing, the other nights we were in there, we did not get to animate. I thought that Animator's Palette was my least favorite restaurant. Go figure.
It was our least favorite for food.
Yeah.
Which this item had gotten so much hype, and we apparently had
the first one.
Yeah, we apparently had a different. Vern tried it. We had a different feel on that one.
One thing that I will say, because we didn't put it on here because it wasn't good, almost every person who ordered a pasta dish on any of the nights at our table at all complained that it was not quite al dente. Like it was like on the not done enough side.
Sure.
It was like crunchy. This was not that way. So I had the black truffle pasta percettes, which were like little purses filled with truffle scented cheese and coated with a delicate champagne sauce. I thought they were really good.
They were so good.
I think James had ordered something like this for lunch, like on day 1 or day 2 or something. And I was like, I should have gotten that. And then when it was on this menu, I got it.
There you go.
Smoked salmon tartare. Anytime there was a smoked salmon tartare thing, I got it. It was really good. And then an herb and garlic focaccia with roasted garlic dip. I love focaccia. I was so excited by this. At Cabanas, they had focaccia every day, so I'd always get the focaccia. And then I'd have to go over to the salad bar to get ranch, because I like to dip it in ranch. The salad dressing bottles were everyone's nemesis, because you'd like turn it over and like nothing would come out, and you'd like shake it and like a little bit would come out, and then like everything would come out. Like everybody struggled with it. Most people that were doing a salad switched from the chunkier, like creamier things like ranch to oil and vinegar because it just poured out normally.
Sure.
But like they even had that at Flo's, and I'd want to get it with like for my French fries, and I'm sitting there like,
come out.
Yeah. But urban garlic focaccia, garlic dip, it was wonderful. James?
I had nothing of note on night 3. I wrote down I must have made some unlucky choices, but this was the night that I encouraged one of our table mates to order mac and cheese when they were skipping an appetizer, and that began so much greatness.
Our server also started to tease us about desserts and one of the desserts he was teasing us about was mac and cheese with chocolate.
Ew.
And that was kind of the thing for a while.
He wouldn't do it.
And then what was the other thing we were joking about that we were saying that they could keep bringing? Oh, it was the lobster bisque. So one of the nights, one of the soups was a lobster bisque, and I was joking that I should have got it. Well, he brought me one, and then like it became this like joke that he was going to always like every night bring me lobster bisque. It wasn't very good lobster bisque.
Yep.
But
So
I don't
you have,
see it on the list.
joke at our table.
you have to be careful not to weaponize the lobster bisque.
Yeah. Night 4, I liked the ahi tuna and avocado tower that had crispy noodles and wasabi dressing. It was a tower. It was very good. I'm not usually an avocado person, but it worked really well with the tuna. James, what about you for night 4?
The mac and cheese was amazing.
So where was night 4? What
Night 4, we were back in the Enchanted Garden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese, ordered off the kids' menu. Would highly recommend it. It's the same as in Cabanas. Highly recommend it. It's delicious.
Okay. Tage and I were talking about this. The mac and cheese, I got it just because I didn't know what else to, like, nothing was speaking to me at that moment. I'm like, oh, I'll try a little bit of the mac and cheese. I'm a large child. It's fine. It does not look good. It is amazing.
It's
I
so
don't
good.
know how it looks so not great, but
It looks
is
underwhelming.
great. Like,
Yeah.
it looks kind of runny and just like there's nothing really special. It looks like I don't know, cafeteria mac and cheese. There's
Yep.
nothing amazing. Like, you don't look at it and go like, ooh, it's like baked and gooey and
Yeah.
delicious. No. And same thing with the chicken nuggets. The chicken nuggets had no business
Ooh.
being as good
Well,
as they
James
were
had
at
a
the
chicken
buffet.
nugget story.
At the buffet.
My first 3 attempts on the chicken nuggets or the chicken dinners were not great. So the first one was at Flo's. It was not crunchy. It was kind of chewy. So kind of lost out on that one.
Yeah.
Second one came from Cabanas, was getting better, but I'm like, it's still not where it should be.
Sure.
This should be better than it is based on descriptions. So I'm going to keep trying. Finally got there. They finally figured it out by like the 3rd or 4th day.
Maybe you just
happened
happened to get like the super fresh. Maybe it's freshness is the problem.
Yeah, I got really unlucky on the first couple of tries, but it got good afterwards and it was consistently good from there.
There you go.
So that was good.
So, a question I have, since you were on the ship for 13 nights and you were rotating through the same 3 dining rooms, did the menus, except for like the special themed night menu, were the menus the same?
Every
No.
day was different.
Every day was different.
So even though you were in the Enchanted Garden,
Yep.
4 times or
Yep.
whatever,
Yep.
different
different
menus.
every night.
Yep.
Wow.
They
did
mentioned
have a section that was the same thing every night.
Sure.
I don't think we ever ordered off of it.
No, we never ordered off of the salmon or the steak.
I wanted
option that
to.
was there.
They had a sirloin steak on there that I really wanted to order, and I was waiting for the night that something didn't speak to me to order it.
Sure.
And I got to the end, and I asked our server because there was a steak on the like special for that night
Sure,
menu,
sure.
and I said, "What's better, that one or the
was
sirloin?"
like
and he said the other one. Well, the other one wasn't very great.
Oh,
I wish I would have done the sirloin, but anyway,
should have gotten both.
maybe. So James, night 4, you just had the mac and cheese. That's it.
And then I was given a Mickey Premium bar for dessert.
Ooh,
So you know,
there you go.
I got to be super adult.
Night 5.
Night 5, we had the fried pierogies for an
Ooh.
appetizer. Those were great. Caramelized onion, sour cream. I love pierogies. Pierogies are delicious. I will keep on eating them. That was so good.
Was that at the Royal Table?
Yeah, we were back at Royal Palace for night 5,
Oh, Royal Palace.
Yep. Which probably my least favorite in terms of decor and atmosphere, since we're having this conversation and I missed out on it. It just didn't do anything special for me. I liked the costumes the cast members wore. I thought those were really nice.
Cast members also liked them because we asked what their favorite costume was between the 3 dining rooms, and they said, both of them said Royal Palace.
Yep.
Mm.
My dessert was supposed to be panakockin because this was frozen night, but because of my food allergies, the chef would not serve it to me. So I got Elsa's chocolate and raspberry tart, which was awesome. It was so good. Just the right amount of raspberry flavor. The chocolate was not overwhelming. It had the really cool plating that looked like a paintbrush of raspberry stuff went through the bottom of it. So like just had everything working for me on that one. It was
Okay, so
really
we're
great.
going to back up a second. So you said it was frozen night?
Frozen night for food.
The theme was frozen.
So
Every restaurant had the same menu that was all based on frozen.
Oh,
It's like every like item on the menu basically was
Yeah.
either Norwegian based or just had a character's name associated with it.
Oh, that's fun because I know they do that for. We'll get to it because I think that was your next night. There's another night that all restaurants have the exact same themed menu. I didn't realize that they did that for other themes, I guess.
Yeah, this was the only other one that I'm aware
Wow.
of that came up like that. So,
Interesting.
yep.
Okay. Moving on to the next night, which I can tell from what you
Oh, I don't think
had.
Tage got to talk about night 5 yet.
I
He
don't
has
have anything
nothing on
night
for
five.
night five.
No wonder, yeah.
You didn't like the pierogies?
I didn't get the pierogies, I don't think.
Okay.
You didn't get the pierogies.
Okay. Night 6.
Night 6 takes us into Pirate Night,
Arr.
which was great. Pirate Night, fireworks at sea, incredible.
The fireworks were amazing.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep, totally lived
It's
up
so
to that.
cool.
We stood up on the upper part of the
Yeah,
deck,
that's where we watched them too.
and there was a spiral slide that we couldn't see the stage for Pirate Night very well, but we knew that we could see it. But we also knew that they were going to put all the important stuff on the screen, and we could see the screen from where we were. So we were in a spot that like nobody else was. And then when the fireworks started, we literally just turned around and we had the whole sky of where the fireworks were. It was
That's
great.
awesome.
So I had vegetable samosa for my appetizer.
Yeah, Vern had those.
Yeah, it was so good. The sauces and everything, it was just so well done. For my main course, I had the jerk chicken, and that was a giant piece of chicken, and it was so juicy and flavorful. Like, just
Remember your piece of chicken at Tiana's?
That's
It
what
was
I.
like that.
No, I had the jerk chicken for Pirates Night. That's what I ate on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
yeah,
So good.
it was absolutely
And there was a lot
masterful.
of plantain on it and
Yep.
red beans and rice. Oh, it was
Yep.
good.
There were a lot of beans on mine. I could have gone with a few.
Could have
fewer
had a
of
few
those.
less beans. Huh?
Yep, but I mean, it was just delicious.
Nice.
I had the deep fried Calypso crab cake with a Cajun remoulade, green onion, and lemon. It was very good.
That was my appetizer that night. Also
but
good.
I would say one of the best things I had the entire cruise was Jack's Treasure of the Seas, which was grilled shrimp and seared scallops served with spinach, strings of pasta, tomato, something I can't pronounce, sauce, and black tomato pearls. It was very good.
Black
the problem
tomato
with
pearls.
this was we had ordered like a few things this night, and I ended up not 100% finishing this because I had ordered, I think, some type of meat or something that I didn't put on this list, that I just could not finish the pasta.
Yeah.
This pasta, by the way, because we had known by night 6 that
the pasta was.
So I told our server, I said, can it be a little past al dente? He's like, I'll make sure. So I think what he did was he brought it up early and let it sit with the sauce so it would like get more. So it was very good though. Like the sauce on it was great. All the seafood on it was great. It was great. They also had jack cakes, which was really good. James wasn't a fan, but I thought they were pretty good.
No.
Or he didn't like it with the sauce.
Yeah.
I liked it with the sauce.
Because
It was like a mango sauce.
that's the other thing is there's the bread service every night is themed and it's different.
Yeah, I think they might have repeated 2 of the breads for us,
Oh,
if
sure.
anything.
I mean,
like,
it was 13
I'm still
nights.
taking 11 different things. Yeah, we got to see a lot of variety, including
Johnny cake with mango dip.
Yeah. And almost as exciting as the liver pate dip, which we could only describe as creamy bologna.
Yeah, it was
Ooh.
not great. It was weird.
It was not a hit at our
Ooh,
table.
yeah.
So, but we tried.
We also had one night of, I had ordered like a charcuterie plate or something, and there was a lot of strange things on there too. But anyway, night 7, James.
Night 7, the highlight for me would have been the potato crusted cod fillet, which is
James doesn't even eat
saying
fish.
something for me. I don't really like fish, and this was probably just past my typical threshold of taste of sea that I like to have, but it worked really well with everything else that was in it, except for the shrimps, which I gave to Tage to eat because shrimp is the seafood that I really don't like to eat.
Yeah, James will not eat shrimp.
Which is so funny because I feel like for most people, shrimp is the seafood they will eat.
Sure.
Like my brother is the person that doesn't really like fish, but shrimp all day. Me, no, want nothing to do with shrimp. But it was good. Like the potato on it gave it a really nice kind of crust that almost worked for me. Like I will do fried fish all day. Totally Wisconsin boy in my fish fries.
Fried fish and tartar sauce.
Yep, throw it on me. I don't even need the tartar sauce most of the time. But this was great. I really enjoyed it. It is giving me confidence that maybe someday I will like fish even more.
We can all hope. I had the smoked salmon and smoked trout roulette, which this was strange. So it had dill, chive, lemon, horseradish, creme fraiche, sour cream, and an oatmeal biscuit. Now I didn't eat the oatmeal biscuit on the side because they looked like 2 dry like it wasn't great. Anyway, what was weird about this, it was very good, but it was in the same mold that they made the chocolate dessert like 3 nights before. It was like a long thing with like a trough in the middle. They had obviously used the same mold to put the like salmon and stuff in. So I got it and I was like, this looks like the chocolate thing from the other day. It was just one of those, like, if we wouldn't have seen the chocolate thing, like I wouldn't have put the two together. But because we had seen the chocolate thing, I was like, what is going on here?
And that looks like you also had a baked lobster tail.
Yes.
So was the other thing your starter, or did you get two?
This is the starter. So yeah,
the salmon was the starter.
Yeah, salmon was the starter.
It felt like such a Jello mold kind of meal by the looks of it.
Yeah,
but
the lobster tail was massive.
Yeah,
and they came and they took it off my plate and they took it out of the shell and they put it back, and I was like, okay. It was very good. Like, and with the butter sauce, like, I mean, it was very good. So I was very, very happy with that. And then night.
Oh, before we move on from 7, there's 2 things that we need to note, because that morning we started with a very special breakfast item in Cabanas. You'd been on the lookout for churro waffles.
Churro waffles. They were very good. They were sweet. What I found that helped was I didn't put syrup on them because that would be a ridiculous thing. But I put whipped cream on them, and the whipped cream kind of tamed the sugar.
Really?
Because the whipped cream they had wasn't like overly sweet. So that's how I ate my Mickey waffles. So they had them 2 mornings during the cruise. They might have had it a third, but I know they had it at least 2 mornings. So I got them both mornings.
Nice.
The second morning I got them, which was towards the end of the cruise, my body was just not feeling the sugar bomb. So I didn't finish my second one. I put 2 on my plate, but they were good. They are worth the hype that everyone has for them. They tasted like a churro. They looked like a waffle. It was a churro waffle. Well, James, what did you think of the churro waffle?
Yeah,
you only had a bite, didn't you?
No, I had one of my own.
Okay.
And yeah, it's absolutely right. It tasted like a churro. It looked like a waffle. it tasted like a Disneyland churro and looked like a waffle. Important detail. So it was really good. I would have those again. I would have them in the park. Like, that could be pretty awesome.
They need to become a thing on more than just the cruise ships, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, James, do you have anything from night 7 through 10?
I'm still talking about night 7.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I need you to slow down here. This is not so much a thing about the food, but about the service and the beginnings of our celebration of Raphael and Jez, our serving team.
Yes.
So that night was Eurovision. Eurovision started at 7 at the current seat time we were at. Our seating was at 5:45. Typically, our meal had gone until about 7:15 or 7:30, but we wanted to be in the district lounge before 7. So we asked our servers, like, is it possible to get us out at 6:45?
We asked the day before.
Yeah, the day before. And he's like, show up right on time. We'll get you out. He did. He made it. We were done at like 6:42, ready to leave the building. Like, it was absolutely incredible. Seriously, we probably got in about 5:40. They opened up early for us that day. I think we had our appetizers by 5:45 as people were still coming in to be seated.
They were very good.
They were getting their appetizers. We had our entrees. Like, it was incredible how good those 2 were.
There were some people on the WhatsApp chat that were complaining about their service. Like, they were saying that, like, they had been there for like an hour and hadn't got their main course yet. Like, not that night, but just in general.
Sure.
They had times where, like, they said that they didn't have time to like talk to their servers or anything. We did not experience this at all.
Not even close.
Our team was amazing.
We'll celebrate them later.
Yeah.
Moving on, I don't have anything until night 10.
So what was night 10? Because I don't have anything till night 11.
Night 10, my dessert was a lemon sponge pudding. And this is where I had the same realization that Tage does about seafood. Tage does not like lemon. Lemon is one of those flavors he will not eat. I really enjoy it. I forget I enjoy it until I get like a lemon poppy seed muffin for breakfast. I'm like, oh yeah, I like that flavor. And so I got the lemon sponge pudding. Everyone else got something else that they were like, this is going to be awesome. That was your strawberry cream night. This was the weirdest dessert.
It was terrible. It was supposed to be like a strawberry cream puff. And they had the cream puff.
It was like a fancy strawberry cream puff.
Yes. They had the cream puff, but they had a bunch of like Jell-O circles and some other things on there. And then there was like this dollop that looked like whipped cream, but it was jiggly like Jell-O. And it didn't taste like anything. And it wasn't a mousse. And all of us at the table that had ordered this, which I think 2 of us ordered it, were like, poking at it and it was jiggling, and we were like, mm-mm. So we ended up ordering a different dessert. But anyway.
So I had the lemon sponge pudding, which is basically a lemon sponge cake. Awesome. So good, especially with the little bit of ice cream that came on it. Like everything I would want for a sponge cake with lemon flavor and everything. So good. Night 11. This is when we weaponized the lobster bisque.
Yeah.
For me, my highlight was the lightly breaded baked eggplant. It basically came out like a eggplant parmesan. Like it had some cheese on it, had a tomato sauce. There was really nice flavor with it. If anything, it was just too big of an eggplant for the appetizer that it was. But it was delicious. Absolutely delicious.
I had the pan-seared venison medallions, which were really good. It came with some red cabbage and potato croquettes and a port wine and juniper reduction. I think the red cabbage, like 3 people at our table got this. All of us left the marinated red cabbage on the plate. Like none of us touched it. And our server was even like, it's okay. Nobody ever eats it. And then I got the chocolate lava cake, which was basically a molten lava cake, which was amazing.
Yeah, that one had to happen.
Night 12, I liked the porcini satecchi, which was pasta filled with porcini mushrooms. So very similar to the thing I had on like day 3 that had some fontina cheese with garlic thyme and wine sauce. Nothing else to write home about for night 12.
I had the dessert that was chocolate decadence, which says for chocolate lovers, it was not overly chocolatey. It was just the right amount of chocolatey. Loved it. Thought it was great. Really glad I had it.
Do you have anything for night 13?
Mac and cheese was really good. There were not enough mac and cheeses ordered at our table. I was very disappointed that did not become a thing on night 13 for everyone.
Finally, night 14.
Night 14 doesn't exist.
I was going to say it was a 13-night cruise.
13. Okay. Well, for night 13, garlic and parsley sauteed shrimp with the jambalaya rice.
Ooh.
What was good about this was the shrimp was great too, but the jambalaya rice really did it.
I'd want the jambalaya rice.
I had a lot of shrimp appetizers on this cruise, and most of them tasted just like cold shrimp, even though they were supposed to have other flavoring. So, like, I always ordered them, but I was always like, oh, they're just kind of cold shrimp. So that was kind of my thing there. But the rice on this was amazing. So that was the food. Now, let's just quickly talk about the cabanas quick. Cabanas, I think, they had a day where there was sushi. They had 2 days, but I missed one day. And the sushi, basically, it was 3 different slices of a roll.
Yeah.
But it was 3 different rolls on the plate. So you take it and you got all 3. James, I grabbed one because I wanted to see what it was like, and I ate it. James went back in to get something else, and I said, can you grab me 2 more of the sushi plates? So he comes out with all these little plates, because they're on these little plates.
Yeah.
There was also a really good like, cake or something that I had that was like one of the desserts from in there. It was a strawberry cake or something. It was very good.
So with the buffet, since you're on there for 13 nights, for your breakfast and your lunch, did they rotate through so it wasn't the same? Like,
so did that work? They'd rotate through like a daily pasta. That one seemed to change most days. They rotated through.
There was one section they kept rotating.
Yeah, there was like an international spot that they rotated through. I think they made it through it 2 or 3 times of what it was. So they had like South Asia when they did, generally speaking, it seemed like Indian cuisine. They did Mediterranean. They had the sushi there and that sort of stuff. Otherwise, the desserts seemed pretty consistent. Your focaccia bread would change a little bit.
They always had the like cheese one that I got, but they would always rotate. They had 2 different focaccia breads.
Sure,
the second one would always rotate.
So some of the stuff was kind of a staple in there each time. And then there was, so like 50-50, would you say?
I don't even know if I'd go that far. I'd say 70-30 of 70 staying consistent.
Yeah, because there was always French fries. There was always the chicken tenders. There was always
mac and
that
cheese,
stuff.
Mac and cheese, always burgers or sandwiches.
Yeah.
The meats were always the same in the little spot.
Salad bar, fruit.
Salad bar was the same.
They also always had shrimp that you could get, but they were not peeled, so you'd have to peel them. So it made it like less. Like, it was more of a hassle to get it. I also made the mistake of getting the crab legs on day 1, but they don't give you a cracker. So it was hard, and it wasn't about worth the effort for me to get the little bit of meat out of it, so I just didn't get it again the rest of the ship or the rest of the cruise. The drinks were different than we're used to. Usually there's like a strawberry kiwi drink on every cruise we've been on, but all they had was apple, orange. They had some teas. They, of course, had all the sodas.
The sodas, yeah.
They have like flavored waters on other cruises.
They did.
Yeah, like a life water or something.
Yeah.
They did have one of those. Yeah.
James really enjoyed having the access to the teas and stuff.
Teas was nice. Yep.
There's hot chocolate too.
Yeah,
There was,
I think he got the hot chocolate one.
I did not get a hot chocolate.
I
It was
got a
always
hot
warm.
chocolate,
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
And then at night for dinner, because they didn't really do... Did they? Oh, they did soda, because you got Diet
I got
Cokes
Diet
all
Coke
night.
every night.
I got the tea. By the way, I gave you credit almost every single night that the two pink things is
Yes.
better than like 7
Than
of the...
a million
Yeah.
sugars.
And it was always perfect, so I appreciate that. If you ever want something sweet and you're putting too many in, the little pink like sweetener...
Yeah, the sweeteners.
Perfect. And I mentioned that, didn't I, James, to people?
did.
I was like, Teresa said, except for one of the funniest things that happened, and this happened 3 nights?
3 nights. Every time at the Enchanted Garden.
I would pick up the 2 pinks,
Yeah.
and I'd shake them to make them go so I could like tear
Yeah.
them and put them in my thing. Every time we were in an Enchanted Garden, I would shake it, and then sugar would start going everywhere. And the first night, I didn't notice. And Francisco was sitting next to me. He goes, "You're getting sugar all over yourself." And I was wearing black. Everything was white.
The 2 packets were empty.
Yeah. And so I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And they were like, so
Weird.
they were cut like at the end, but on both of them. So it wasn't like it accidentally got nicked
Yeah.
like in a box. So I have no idea.
Interesting.
But yes.
So my critique of the food and what I think we came to be the consensus is it seems like the cruise line tends to play it safe most of the time with seasoning, or at least anything that more people would order for something. It seemed like they were maybe undersalted often, or just kind of didn't have that pop of flavor that I would expect it to always have. But when things were right, they were incredibly good.
Yeah. And other than just the decor and the beautiful ship, I've said this before, I will say it to anybody I tell about the Disney Cruise Line, our dining room staff was the best part of our entire cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Jez, who was our assistant server, Raphael, who was our head server, or our server. Our head server was Zoltan. Amazing group of people. So much so that we told Zoltan one night that they were the best. He explained that they had gotten the most positive feedback from the cruise before, which allowed them to get off at every port on the next cruise. So keep that in mind if you go on a Disney cruise and you put in good words. If they get the most good words, they get to get off the next cruise, which is really
They
nice.
do actually get, like, it's not just a pat on the back.
Yeah. And then the last night, I even flagged down the officer who was over the restaurant. And she came over with this look on her face of, "Oh God, what has gone wrong?" And I said, "I think I speak for everyone at the table when we say that they are the best part of the cruise so far." All of us agreed that the cruise was great, but they were the best part of the cruise. Like their attitude, their friendliness with us. We met Raphael's wife who worked in the Oceaneers Club. We went walking by one of the nights. We saw her because he was like, "If you see her, say hi to her.
Yeah.
Tell her how lucky she is to have me." And then she said, "Well, tell him how lucky he is to have me."
That's funny, yeah.
And so what was cool about her was because of the sailing and different things, they actually sat at the same table we sat at on the evening seating, because you can request, as an employee, especially on the not full cruises, they can request to eat in the main dining room for their meal. So he actually had her and his in-laws or something, James, were visiting the ship, so he got to serve them.
Oh,
the second
that's neat.
meal.
Yeah.
But she was great. He was great. He's actually moving up to a managerial level,
Or is trying to.
And is hoping to be moved to the new ship when it comes out.
Very exciting.
So
Very exciting.
great people. We didn't have a negative experience with any crew member. I think
say the people that they find for Disney Cruise Line cast members are just incredible.
Yeah. And the entertainment staff, the people who ran all the stuff, I don't know where they got all the energy from, especially by the time day 13 came by.
Yeah.
Chelsea ran a ton of the stuff, and she was always like, "Make some noise, Disney Dream! How's everybody?" She was always at that level.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she was always at that level, but she was out dancing on some of the deck parties and stuff and hosting. I don't know how she had all the energy. But also, one thing that they had on that Disney cruise that we have never had, they had blankets for people on the deck. So if you wanted to watch the thing, no ship we've been on has had blankets.
Yeah, no, we definitely needed to use towels as blankets.
They didn't have blankets for you?
No. I'm talking on the Norwegian.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was really cool. And one of the other cool things was we brought one of them back to our room because we had the balcony.
Yeah.
And our cabin steward left it in the room for us. Like she'd fold it and put it on the couch.
Oh, very nice.
So we could use it on the patio because it would also kind of be a little chilly there sometimes. Overall, the weather was great though, but there was like at night when there was a breeze.
The breeze.
It was a little cold.
Mm-hmm.
It was so awesome to also not have to worry about checking out towels or blankets.
Yes.
Like Disney just trusting you with it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
also the 2 bathrooms.
Yes.
Huge deal because James
makes a huge
sink
difference
in the room with the toilet. I had my sink in the room with the shower. Also, I don't know if I've told you this. James was surprised. The shower on the Disney Dream in our cabin is better than our home shower. It had the perfect amount of like the water temperature never really changed. It was perfect.
There you go.
The pressure was excellent. It felt like a good size shower. Like I never felt claustrophobic in it. I did accidentally flood it somehow one of the nights. But otherwise it was great. It was also great to have the H2O products somewhere again. And it was wonderful. Our bed was super comfortable.
I was going to say, we haven't talked about the cabin
Pillows.
at all.
The cabin itself was great. I really enjoyed. I found that at the time we would be going to bed, there was this paranormal show on every night. So I would go to bed watching this paranormal show because we had cable. Now, what was interesting with the transatlantic is once we got to like our second port in Spain, all of the like broadcast channels, because in the beginning we had ABC, we had the Disney Channel, we had CNN, we had Fox News, we had MSNBC. Like those were some of the main channels.
Sure.
And as we got into Spain, like those became a couple of ABC totally went away.
This is how good you are with time. This happened after the Azores.
Well, whatever. But some of the channels like went away, and some of the channels went to having like a notice saying that like because of restrictions, like we're in a different zone.
Sure.
But some of the things stayed. So like the ESPN channels actually changed to this like Sport 24 channel that kind of did the same thing, but it wasn't ESPN. Yeah. So it was cool to have all those. And then of course there was the channel that would replay the stuff from the Disney theater. Kevin Kearns' talks were replayed sometimes. There was the one guy who did the shopping presentation on like day one, and that was constantly playing on that channel, like the same recording, because every time I'd go past it, there was the one guy with the brown jacket sitting like in the bottom. I'm like, it's the same video. So anyway.
Yeah.
Anything else that you could think of with the cabin, James?
No, I think you covered the cabin pretty well. Probably one of the nicest cabins we've been in.
It was also weird. Every cruise we've ever been on, when you go for your muster drill, which for anybody who hasn't been on a cruise, it's like the safety drill to teach you like where to go if there's an emergency. This is the only ship we've ever been on that they said, go to your cabin first, grab your life vest, get warm clothing on, and then come to the muster station. Every other cruise we've been on is
just go
do
to muster.
not go to the room. You must go to the muster station. Like, don't bring anything with you. Just go there. And I was like, it's interesting that they're just like, take your time. Get here when you can.
Well, but the other thing, too, is a lot of cruises just have you, like, scan. Like, that's what we did for Norwegian. We just scanned. We didn't even realize, that was the muster drill, because they were just like...
Right.
They made it almost, like, too
that changed
easy.
Since COVID.
Yeah. No, but it was, like, too easy that it was like, hopefully I remember this, whereas the Disney one, it's like, I know where I'm supposed to go.
I have a couple of small stories that I'm obligated to share.
Oh,
okay.
Lord.
I believe this was promised on the stream of Tagisms of some of the days.
Oh, yeah, you promised this yourself, so don't even try and give that look right now, sir.
I don't remember what all of them were, so I'm just going to be re-embarrassed by all of these.
So I'm just going to whittle down to a couple. Day one. The night before, we got to our Airbnb pretty late, so we didn't have a lot of food options. So we ordered Papa John's with...
I've never had Papa John's. It was very good.
With extra cheese. And we didn't sleep well that night. We like to think it was just the excitement. But as we were getting ready for bed on night one, Tage said, maybe it was the cheese that got me a little bit upset in the stomach and I couldn't sleep. And then he orders room service. He ordered a cheese platter.
Right before bed.
Yep. So, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, like, that's the last thing I want to do before I crawl in my bed is eat a platter of cheese.
It was really good cheese.
It was really good.
But yes, so maybe my stomach's sick because of the cheese. I should order a cheese platter.
Eat more cheese.
So I could have another night where I don't sleep well. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the Airbnb was great.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Incredible. Day 2, we are finally out in the ocean. And Tage looks to me on this nice windy day and goes, I didn't know I should expect that there would be clouds over the ocean.
Tage.
No. In fairness, we were on our patio, and I turned to James and I said, this is going to be really dumb when I tell you this. But for some reason in my mind, I thought that for some reason my mind thought that clouds were only over like land or near land, that like out in the middle of the ocean there would not be clouds, which I know is not right, but my brain thought that way. And James said, what?
You know, I think I probably thought that too.
Thank you.
Yep.
See, we're both stupid. This is why we're together.
It's lovely. So moving on to day 6, not so much a Tagism as an unfortunate happening with the ship. So sometimes the lines for characters got really long. Sometimes people took a little bit longer than they should. But one of them was Captain Hook was out for the first time with Mr. Smee. And their line was long. Like, we probably waited about a half hour before we got our chance. And it went so long that they switched out Captain Hook and Mr. Smee, and people got to meet Daisy instead. Because Daisy was scheduled to start at, say, like 5:45.
Tage was talking about this, and I'm not sure why the cast member didn't adjust the line better.
Yeah.
And set better expectations for the people that thought they were going to meet Captain Hook, that then suddenly it was not.
So to give you an idea too, Teresa, so in the atrium, there's like a stage area on like the second floor, like an area that pops out.
Yeah.
That's where they were meeting. The line went past the coffee shop that's like on the corner there, all the way
I believe
past the elevator bank and back around the other side of the atrium.
Mm-hmm.
So the end of the line was almost at Captain Hook on the other side.
It probably would have gone further, honestly, if people would have.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, so that was just wild. So lucky them. Unfortunately, that was one of the people who dressed up as TikTok to meet Captain Hook and Mr. Smee.
Did not get
fun.
Got to meet Daisy. The next day, we finally got in to see Vibe, one of the kid places. I wrote down, wow, I wish I was 14 to 17 years old.
The kids' clubs
really
look
cool.
pretty epic, though. There's a reason you do not see children on a Disney cruise. It's because they have such cool places to go hang out in.
Yeah, Vibe was incredible. I get that. Because they had their own little front spot with a small pool and hot tub.
Yeah.
They had like
It's
a huge
cool.
chess set that we were watching a couple play. And we were like, I hope you don't feel nervous that we're watching you. She's like, he's going to win. It was funny. Anyway.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We already talked about weaponizing the lobster bisque. So
And the chocolate mac and cheese, which he also joked about a lot.
Chocolate mac and cheese. Oh, we did have another Imagineer that we met on the ship who, as we were walking, we were trying to get somewhere. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't super important, but he points at me because I'm wearing my Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout hoodie.
You're going to love this story. This is hilarious.
And he's like, oh, did you work on that?
Were you on the team that did that?
Yeah, something like that. And I'm like, nope.
He also asked me because I was wearing this hoodie, my Imagineering hoodie. He goes, oh, are you an Imagineer? And I'm like, nope. Every time I wear this hoodie, people ask me if I was an Imagineer.
Remember when we were at the Walt's barn, someone asked me if I was Imagineer because I was wearing one of the 70th Imagineering things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But we met the Imagineer and he worked on...
Oh, so he was
he was an Imagineer. Yep. Yeah, he's worked on a ton of different things and a lot of the construction stuff that he kind of manages things.
His wife was more enthusiastic that he was an Imagineer than he was. Like, she was like, he's worked on this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
That's fun.
The hype person that he really needed. So it was fun. We ended up talking to them for probably like 20 or 30 minutes.
Also,
that's awesome.
Before I forget, if anybody goes on the Dream, I don't know if they do this on normal cruisings, but at least on the Transatlantic, there is a little bar area between the District Lounge and Evolution in the back that at 10:30 at night, they put out finger foods. And this got around the ship.
Oh, yeah.
And this became like the hot ticket every night because it was only from 10:30 to 11:30. And they had pot stickers, which were very good. And then they had like a random selection of other things, but the pot stickers were there every night. And the first couple nights, like nobody really knew it was there. But by the last night, people were like lining up for it because at that time of night, all you had was flows. And people, I think by like night 10 were tired of like a burger and fries or whatever.
Yep.
So
flows or room service.
At that time of night, it's pizza.
Oh yeah, it's just pizza.
It's pizza.
Yeah.
So,
but finger foods, 10:30 to 11:30.
So, final thoughts on the cruise.
I'll let James go first.
Okay. I think Disney is worth the premium if you are interested in cruising and you have children.
Oh.
What does that mean?
I think parents, grandparents, guardians, whatever it is, I think this is 100% by far the best experience that families with children can have on a cruise ship. Disney lives up to their reputation with it. I think the kids' experiences are the best. There were kids that were like, how long? I remember an interaction of a parent with a child at Oceaneers Club of how long do you want to stay here? And the kid said 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 4 p.m. So like the kid is not going to be there for 8 hours, but they were having such a good time there. So the other kids and the staff there clearly do like a Disney Plus job of really making this happen. And I think that gives parents the opportunities to really enjoy it. We didn't have to go into the adult only area very often. Like we didn't really even go in there too often other than to see the front of the ship because the kids that were around were well behaved and we didn't have to escape all of that. And so that was really great. Now for the two of us as non-children havers, I don't know if it's fully worth the premium for the reason that we cruise. The food was not a standout for me compared to other cruises. I feel like it's very comparable in a lot of ways. The trivia and daily activities, nothing better than what I feel like we got. And even the big entertainment stuff, like it was really good. It was Disney quality when we got like Beauty and the Beast and Believe. But we've also had Broadway caliber on Royal Caribbean. And so for me, I don't feel the need to pay Disney Premium when I can get something just as good on another cruise line that I like more. And I'm probably breaking Take's heart by saying this.
Now, to be fair, we did book a placeholder, so we have that. So we're definitely will go on another Disney cruise at some point. We highly believe and agree that a transatlantic cruise on Disney 110% worth it.
Oh, yeah.
The price we paid for what we got, definitely worth it.
Oh, yeah.
We think that it's the best crew and the best ship we've ever been on, like in terms of like decor and stuff. And the crew has been the best crew we've ever had anywhere.
Easily.
But again, it comes down to like, okay, but the other things like the food and the whatever. So I keep looking at Disney stuff because I'm hoping to find something that's a little more affordable that James will be like, okay, that's only a slight premium. We can do that. But I think our next cruise is probably going to be something like a Royal Caribbean.
You bring up a good point I am very curious of what a non-transatlantic Disney cruise is, because what does it feel like to cram so many of those things in 3 or 4 days? I even think about like the Buena Vista Theater watching the movie. Like when we saw Greatest Showman, it was like day 10. It was a pretty full theater. I think people were ready for something a little different. I don't feel like you're going on to Disney cruise for 3 or 4 nights and sitting and watching a 2-hour movie in the Buena Vista Theater, unless it's a premiere like they tried to do with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
We had a technical issue with the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It was supposed to play in the Walt Disney Theater. That was going to be the premiere at sea. That was the movie that came out. Their projector physically broke.
Oh, no.
So they held us in like outside the theater for quite a while. And it was already going to start at like 10:45 or something.
Yeah.
We waited till about 11:30 and they hadn't come up with a solution yet. James had looked in the Navigator app and saw that it was going to play again on our cruise. So we said, we'll just watch it then. We don't have to be like the first people to watch it. So we went to bed. We had talked to people who stayed, and
it didn't start until like after midnight.
It didn't start till after midnight. And it was like a 2.5 hour long movie, so it would have been very late. But they moved it to the Buena Vista Theater where the projector was working. They did get it fixed, the projector fixed by the next day because the cruise director mentioned it at one of the shows. But that was just kind of like an unfortunate kind of thing that happened. For me, now to my thing, based off the ship and the crew, like I don't really like. I like what am I trying to say? The food is important, but the food was good enough. Same thing with like the entertainment stuff. I thought was good enough that I would prefer to take a Disney cruise if I could every time, because I like the ships a lot and I like the crew so much. And I do kind of like the Disney
vibe.
Atmosphere. Also, we didn't even talk about this. It is the best upkept ship that we've ever sailed on.
By far.
Because every day there was people out there painting. Every port, they were hosing the outside of the ship off. Never have we seen that. We've seen them like hose some things off. And like at night, like every ship we've been on, they've like hosed the deck down and stuff. But they were like every day they had a maintenance crew that we would visibly see painting things. There was just recently painted signs all over the place. They were cleaning the portholes like almost every day. Again, port days, they were cleaning the outside of the ship. Like they were keeping it immaculate, which I think for Disney having at this point 5 ships, and some of them, like the ones you went on, are older.
Yeah.
But they look still new.
They do.
I think is a testament to their maintenance. And they realize, I think, that if they spend more money to keep it up, it's cheaper than like, every so often we'll throw it in dry dock and fix all of the stuff.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we expect. Honestly, I've been having a hard time trying to decide if I think the parks, specifically Disneyland, is the best representation of Disney or the cruise line. Because I think if you take money out of the factor, which is the biggest thing for us, I think the Disney Cruise Line is the pinnacle of the Disney experience. I think they do such a good job and they have such high standards for all their stuff that like that is what Disney is. Where sometimes
it's more of a controlled environment. Like they can have like that because you're in the Disney bubble. It's more of a they can control things a lot more there.
I'm interested to see what their islands are like because we haven't been to their islands.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what they're like too. The next cruise that Vern and I booked it has 3 stops, and 2 of which are it's Castaway Cay and then Lighthouse Point, which is the brand new one that hasn't even opened yet. And it was funny because we were talking about like just Disney cruising and pricing, and I realized I'm like, you know what? I bet you my cruise is probably more expensive because it's stopping at Lighthouse Point within the first year. And I still don't even think we booked it early. So it was for Disney cruise pricing was not astronomical. Yeah. I've looked at that same cruise and like the inside staterooms are significantly more than what we paid for our.
Well, they said people on the cruise who have done a bunch of Disney cruises said a couple things to us. They said, one, it's not as expensive if you book as soon as the itinerary is open. Yeah. So like if you book out, like boom. The other one is, if there's availability, book last minute because you don't have a selection of a cabin. If that's not important to you, you can get a good deal.
Or live in Florida and get the Florida discount.
And you get the Florida rate, which apparently is really good. And cast member rates are apparently really good too, because there were a few cast members.
Well, and we were talking about this too. Currently, the fleet's 5 ships, but in the next handful of years, their fleet's gonna.
They're going up to 8.
They're going up. Yeah. So we're almost wondering too, like with Disney, it's a premium pricing. It is a higher quality experience, but it's also a supply and demand thing right now. There's only so many cruises and so many cabins. So it'll be interesting. You and I were talking about this.
Yeah, because like Carnival has like a dozen or dozens
is that
going
to do anything? Is the price for Disney cruises maybe for the older ships, are they going to see a dip in pricing because there's just more openings, or is it going to stay the same, or what's that going to do? Because really if you want to do a Disney cruise right now, there's not a ton of options. You're kind of limited compared to some of the bigger cruise lines. So it'll be interesting.
And if you're going in the next couple of years on the Dream or on the Fantasy, the Dream at the end of this summer is going to dry dock and getting some things done. That was one of the reasons it was doing the transatlantic. Next year, the Fantasy is doing the transatlantic for the same reason. It's going to go into dry dock and get some modifications made too. So not like a full huge overhaul, but some updates. So those, if you're going on the Dream or the Fantasy, if you're going on the Dream after October, you'll have some new refreshed things. If you're going on the Fantasy after next year's transatlantic, because I think they go over there and then it goes right to dry dock. It doesn't even do the Mediterranean first.
Okay.
After that, you'll have a refreshed experience as well. So it'll be interesting to see what that all turns out to be. I also think one other comment I want to make about the quality is it is a premium product. I look at the Disney Cruise Line as like the Apple of stuff. Yeah, you get what you pay for. You pay more for it. Everybody knows you pay more for it. But it's not that you're not getting any. It's not like you're getting exactly what Royal Caribbean has, but because it has the Disney name, you're paying a premium.
Sure.
You are getting better stuff. You're getting a better upkept ship. You're getting a better crew. At least in our case, we had a better crew. Of course, you get things like the characters and all that stuff. So if you're a Disney fan, definitely do a cruise. As you do more, and if you do placeholders, you get discounts on things. I'm excited because I didn't know this. You probably knew this because you've done research. When you get to the 10 cruise level, I think it is, and you've done when you do your 11th cruise, you get Palo included.
Yeah.
One day of Palo. Yep.
One of the Palo nights included. And everybody who went and ate at Palo said it is very good food, but it is also so much food.
It's like 7 courses, and they are full courses.
Yeah. But they said like each course is like a full plate of stuff. So they were like, we were dying at the end.
Yeah.
So.
Dang.
But
So overall positive experience.
Yeah.
Though.
Easily.
Yeah. The
Awesome.
only reason that we wouldn't book every cruise as Disney was just a price factor.
Makes
and
sense.
a lot of their cruises are like that 3 and 4 night, and we generally like longer.
Except
the Fantasy
for the
does
Fantasy.
do 7-night cruises by like default. That's kind of its itinerary.
Its thing, yeah.
But like the Wish and all that, like one of the things in the room, you probably had this in your room maybe. If you watch like the bridge information channel or whatever, it would show us where all the other Disney Cruise Line ships were, and we just watched over our transatlantic like how often like the Wish and the Dream and whatever was just like
They
looping
did the
around.
same loop like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because basically they're just taking you out to their island, coming back.
Well, and what was funny was the last day they had taken a port away for whatever reason, so we had to go really slow. On that last day, we were on on the deck looking out. We didn't even think we were moving. I had to turn the bridge info channel on, and we were going like 8.5 knots, which is like nothing.
Yeah.
So we're just like
coasting
slowly
along,
gliding through the Mediterranean. It was great though. I highly recommend it.
Really, just take it all in while you were going, just creeping through the Mediterranean there.
Exactly.
And do like some people on our cruise did. If you always have wanted to go to Disneyland Paris, take the transatlantic cruise next year, and then go to Paris. And do Paris for a couple days.
Does it end up in Southampton next year, or does it go to Barcelona?
It might end up in Southampton next year, but you could still go to Paris from there.
I mean, it's even easier because that's basically London, so you could take a train for 2
That's true.
hours.
So you're even closer. Well, I'm very glad to hear that you guys both had a wonderful time. The food got off to a bumpy start. I'm glad that it evened out for you a little bit better. So that was a better experience. We didn't have that experience. So when you said the food wasn't great at first, I was like, what? So I'm glad that got a little better for you, and that everything else was enjoyable.
Was your server and assistant server amazing?
Oh my, yes.
Okay.
Yes. They were like our best friends at the end of it. They were so fun. We were seated with another couple, and it was they were celebrating her birthday on the cruise, and Vern and I were celebrating our 1-year anniversary, and they made sure not to celebrate those things on the same nights, even though it was only 4 nights. So the first night the assistant server came out and made a faux guitar with his pepper grinder and like one of the like things that you put on top of the meals, like the whatever. Oh, the like cover metal things. Cover, yeah. Yep. So he made himself a little guitar and they serenaded her, and then they brought us like a dessert for our anyways. But it was really fun.
You know, they were
just a blast.
Jazz made us friendship bracelets.
The night before the last night, he brought out, so like we got from that listener, he made just like that with all of our names on it.
Very cool.
And so we got those, and then I was mean to everybody because I was like, look, Jez, we care. James didn't even have his own. I'm like, I care. I'm wearing mine.
It's true.
That's very sweet.
Well, the other couple like had missed dinner that night, so like Jez had to bring out the bracelets for them that night.
Sure.
He's like, we don't even have ours, or we'd be wearing. But it was great.
Very fun. Very fun.
Woo! Welcome back to Trivia Land, Chef. My name Raymond, and I hope them answers are bigger and better than this here back porch I got attached to me. Don't you know, Evangeline and I wish y'all the best of luck.
All right, welcome back to Trivia Land. Yeah, we had some good ones this week. Some Disneyland history, and
you're not instilling us with any type of confidence.
No,
here.
Why would I not be doing that?
Because we probably did not do well.
Oh, well, the only way to find out is by going through the questions, then, isn't it?
Got the pirate ship one. That's my only one that I am
maybe
confidence in that tuna ship.
The tuna ship.
But before we get there, true or false, the horseshoes have a special coating on them to give them better traction and increase that clip-clop sound. It is true. No trickery here.
Good job, Teresa.
You said true as well.
Yep.
So good job, Tage.
There you go.
Look
good job, us.
You too.
Good job, us.
Question number 2. What was the Lily Bell up to before Walt acquired it?
I was just hanging out somewhere. The way you worded that question, it's like, just hanging out. It was back in the day, probably having a smoke.
Did it even exist? It must have.
It did. Before it traversed the dioramas of the Grand Canyon, it was at the Grand Canyon.
Oh.
It was an observation car at the Grand Canyon.
Well, that's exciting.
neat.
Yeah. So, familiar sights. Pretty great, right?
So even my very vague, it was some amusement park, doesn't count.
Nope. You should have known there's so much national park influence between Big Thunder Mountain and everything else. There's so much.
There's lots of influence on lots of things, James.
You should have known.
Sure.
Third question. A unique Peter Pan themed restaurant opened at Disneyland Park on August 29th, 1955. What was it called until 1969? You got it right. The Chicken of the Sea Pirate Ship and Restaurant. This one was taken directly from the Disney Parks trivia I participated in on the cruise, where there were 16 Disney World questions, this one for Disneyland, and 3 others for the global parks.
Wow.
So,
Holy buckets. That's not...
Well, it did sail out of Florida, so
yeah, they
knew their audience. I
definitely
guess.
playing to the audience there for sure. And final question. What Disneyland attraction featured the running of the goats? You both found your way to Big Thunder Ranch, and that is where you would have seen the goats running.
Oh, did you change your answer to Big Thunder Ranch?
I did change my answer.
Yeah, the
I said that makes more sense than mine.
Yeah, those 13 goats at the petting farm, between their naps, obviously, they were up and around. But when quitting time came around, they found some energy because they really wanted to get to their dinner. And I don't blame them.
That's so funny.
Yep. So that's trivia this week. That's it. You did it. 3 out of 4.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. So you did good on answers and you learned something. So I call this a very successful week of trivia. Now, if you listeners at home want to help contribute, you can send some questions our way. Producer Vern and I would love to ask them on the podcast. Just submit them over on our website, dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
A special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.
No matter what you're a fan of, Texas has the trip for you. There's the trip to Texas and the trip. Or maybe you're the kind of fan who'd prefer a trip to Texas or a trip. Either way, go to traveltexas.com/get-your-own for the only trip to Texas that matters. Yours.
Travel is great, but planning for travel can be time-consuming and difficult. That's where One Travel comes in. With One Travel, you'll find everything you need to book the perfect trip. Flights, hotels, cars, transportation, it's all right there. With One Travel, you can book online, via app, or even pick up the phone and talk to a travel advisor ready to help you make your selections. Visit onetravel.com/music or call 855-437-2154. Plan it, book it, live it. One Travel.